Okay, Merry Christmas. We're dropping this whole interview early. We're not going to roll it out clip by clip. Instead, we're just dropping the whole thing on your head. All I ask is please consider becoming a member because members get early access to all our content. So, without further ado, I present you the 59J interview. No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world, and I'm bringing y'all a very long-awaited interview with the man himself who constantly tears up YouTube and gets the streets talking. 59J, aka J Hands, in the building. How you doing?
And how you doing, bro? Thanks. It was a pleasure to be here. It's a long drive, man, but I'm glad I made it. I made the cut.
Nah, I'm hyped, man. Yeah, I actually thought that you had never done an interview prior, and now I've actually seen the other interviews that you've done with my boy Johnny Mitchell and everything. Yeah. So, I'm just hyped to get to map out the whole story and everything.
Johnny Mitchell was cool. He had me doing it in Los Angeles.
Yep.
Bro, that was like, we were in like Inglewood.
Oh, I think I already know the neighborhood that you went to because I went there one time to do it too. And actually, right as I was leaving, there was like an older dude who clearly was like a Nazi before or currently in his life coming in. And I was like, oh, I get to meet this cool white power guy. That's interesting. I never get
my experience was totally different.
Wait, really? Who'd you run into?
I remember when, because you know how it's like in a busy street. So I get out there. As soon as I got there, he let me in. So I didn't see nobody. But when I was out, like, it was in the back. So when I go in the front waiting for my Uber is like 25 minutes away. And I'm just looking at all these lowriders and these thugs and dudes on beach cruisers and bikes walking around just mad dogging me. And they're all in blue. And I'm like,
oh, shit.
I was like, good. Yeah, I'm just stranded here for 25 minutes outside.
20. Okay, because was it like behind a house?
Yeah, his was behind the house.
That's the same spot that I went to then. Yeah, that's like, 25 minutes felt like a lifetime when you're just sort of standing there and you got all different walks of life walking by and shit.
Dude, and this is me. I was just talking about Renegade. Everybody in LA hate me. So I was sitting there just like, all right, bro, let's just hope nothing happens. And then 25 minutes later, my Uber shows up and I made it back to the hotel. I think I was at the Hilton right around the corner. From that spot, the Hilton Hotel.
Oh, okay,
nice.
So
I was chilling there. It was a nice hotel. Hooked up with a girl out here. Had a blast.
Oh, okay.
Had a blast, and then I flew right back to where I was at.
Nice. Yeah.
So it was a good podcast. It was a great one. So.
Yeah. No, Johnny's a good guy. He like makes me feel like I have like a first grade level education when it comes to the cartels and just like whatever, all that stuff. Like he just knows everything, like way too much about that world.
Yeah, he's fascinated with the cartels, but every once in a while I dab into that kind of content, do cartel stuff every now and then. But it's like that's, the streets of LA and streets of California, I know gang politics, but so when you get into the cartel business, you're kind of like, man, I don't even know how to pronounce these words most of the time. So I kind of stay away from it unless it's like something serious.
Do you find that your audience wants to hear you talk about one thing in particular, and if you go into the cartel world, that's just a little too exotic for your audience, that they're just not really like familiar with it?
Nah, you'd be surprised. Like every time I do like a cartel video, if you read the comment section, they're real educated. My audience has a diverse education. They understand a lot. They know more than me. So sometimes they give me comments like, well, it's like this, and they break it down more. And I'm like, they know that. I did not know that. So I think it's when I step outside the gang realm of content is when I don't get the views, which I'm still trying to do every now and then. I dabble into different subject matters, but I mean, everybody in California loves this gang talk. So I was like, okay, I stuck with it. So I give it to them. I take my time, but I give them what they really want. I know my audience well enough to know like what they want to listen to, what they're entertained by, and I have to oblige myself to them, what they want.
You know what Johnny told me one time was that he said that his channel maybe doesn't earn as much money as other channels because a huge percentage of his audience is locked up, and well, I guess I don't know why that would make his channel earn less or whatever. But either way, he believes that like a gigantic percentage of his audience is like currently incarcerated, which is kind of wild. You don't buy it?
Nah, I did. I remember going to work one time and there was like two coworkers of mine were like, "Hey, bro, I seen you on Johnny Mitchell's channel, bro. How do you know him?" I was like, "I don't. I just got interviewed by him." But yeah, it was a cool experience. So dudes in jail got hell a lot more things to be doing. Like every once in a while, like I'll get a phone call from a cell phone from somebody in prison, and they'll be like, "Hey, bro, I've been watching your stuff for a while." I think the most recent one was a dude that used to be an Aryan Brothers cellie, one of the biggest Aryan Brotherhood's names in California. He was a cellie, and he was like, "Hey, I used to be a cellie for like 7 years. I got a clap, and he gave me just like some little ongoing things that was going on in prison. He's like, hey, but keep doing your thing. I should be home soon. I'm like, all right. So they watch. And the more I've grew on my channel, the more people understood the sources that I had. I reached out to a lot of people in prison, and they reached out to me because they have cell phones. That's why I've been able to get a lot of inside information. So they do watch it, but when I was in prison, I wouldn't be watching no damn YouTube. I was looking at hella twerk videos.
Isn't that just torturing yourself, though? If you're watching like gangster content and like prison content, you're kind of just filling your mind with more of the stuff that you're already surrounded by. You know, you could go watch some dude beat up another dude out in the day room or some shit.
I was already politicking.
Yeah.
So why do I want to hear about politics? And like I said, I got busted in 2005. And, you know, I was 18. I was only out for 6 months. I had did 3 years in YA before that. So, you know, I only had small interactions with women here and there. So, you know, me going to jail, I was fiending for a woman. So when I got a cell phone, I was like, I ain't give a damn about nothing. I just want to see a girl twerk. And twerking wasn't a big thing in my area. So I was like, when I heard about these videos, I was like, damn.
Yeah, you're like a kid. It's like, what's a kid do if you're like 10 and you get the, I know when I was, I think I was 13 when I first got the internet. Right away. First thing first. Like, I got to see some. No, yeah.
I'm the same age? I'm 38.
I'm 42. Okay, freshly 42, so yeah.
Even before the internet, dude, I used to watch like,
oh yeah,
I would stay up like around, like when I was like 3 or 4, I would stay up and watch like HBO and Showtime and watch the soft. And I would just sit there with like cups of water.
Wait, why? You dehydrated yourself from the goon session? What?
No, I swear, look, my grandma, everybody would be asleep. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and there'd be like 8 of us in there because I come from a Mexican family who was ghetto younger. So she always had like, every time we ran out of a gallon of milk, she just filled it up with water. So we always had cold water. And so I would just grab a cup of water, drink it, just watch soft. And I switched to all the channels. I used to watch Real Sex Talk TV and just watch weird stuff. And then I know when everybody was waking up to go to work. So now I was like, okay, it's time for bed. I was like 3 or 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around there.
Whoa, you were 5 watching.
Yeah, I was young when I started watching porn.
Oh shit, yeah. I wonder what that does to you.
Had an adverse effect the long term.
It's got to do something in the long run. I remember I read Marilyn Manson's book, and he was talking about finding his grandfather's stash of like super weird. And in addition to that, like photos of his grandfather wearing women's clothes and stuff. And then if you look at like what a weirdo Marilyn Manson ended up being, it's kind of like, oh, well, I guess that probably didn't hurt too much.
He took his own rib out just to handle his own business.
I'm pretty sure that was a myth.
I don't know.
You know?
To this day, I mean, his ribs look weird. So whenever you see him like on social media with his shirt off, I was like, that fool probably did that. Like,
I think some models really be getting their ribs taken out to fix their shape or something.
That's excessive, man. Just be you, and either one, somebody's gonna like you in this world.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
Definitely. So how far is? So you're from the city of Tulare. Tulare. I was gonna say. Okay. The only thing I know about it is that my boy Tommy Guns is always talking about Tulare County because he's from Pixley.
He's from Pixley,
which is
the biggest city in Tulare is Visalia.
Okay,
it's named after Tulare. I live next door. Tulare and Visalia. Tommy Guns, man. Look,
here we go. We're gonna disrespect the South Siders.
No. I'm just saying, like. Today's rapping is garbage, bro. Like he's blowing up.
He's got some potential though. I feel like he's actually got better music than probably 99% of people out here making music. Maybe 99's a lot. Maybe 95. I don't know. Maybe I'll scale it back. I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Pixley is a very, very small town.
Yeah.
They got like 2 companies that, like, if you really want a good job, they have like 2 companies in the valley that are pretty good. And that's like JD Haskell's and Crafts, maybe like sort of like by Bakersfield, but it's a small town, bro. It's pretty much you can walk through it and just disappear and forget about it. It's really, really small. Pixley, Timpton, those are all those are all little towns. That's it. But Tulare, if I say, is where you're gonna see most of the biggest gangs.
Right. Yeah. Because that's what's interesting about his whole situation is that he's out here dissing the Northerners in his music like all the time. It took me a little while to realize like why he's talking about busters so much and shit like that. I'm thinking he just dissing whoever, and then I'm like slowly realizing like, oh, okay, that's who he's got issues with. Okay. Yeah,
but his town is all Southerners and it's very small. It's like, I swear, it's like a 10-minute walk and drive. It's small. It's really small. So he doesn't really interact with Northerners other than if he goes to another city. See, back in my day when I used to beef with Pixley, is because they don't have a high school, so they would take the school bus and come to our high school, and that's when we would catch them slipping on the east side of Tulare. That
Oh,
was like the
really?
best time to catch a Southerner slipping.
Oh, wow.
But I don't get how he beefs with Northerners when he doesn't really have Northerners. But sometimes, Pixie Southerners will go to Tulare to Visalia party and see a Northerner, shoot him, and then they go back. It goes back and forth like that. But I ain't back in my day. Like if I caught you, I caught you. I ain't driving 10 towns over just to go find you. Like, bro, I'm trying to get laid. I'm trying to smoke or something. I'm
Right.
not really going on my way for you unless you're in my neighborhood. That was
I mean, I'll give it to him that it's a quick little drive if he wanted to go find one of these people that he's dissing in his music. But I do think it's pretty funny the obsession with the Northerners that a lot of LA rappers have, because they literally are never going to see one of these people ever unless they get locked up, right?
Never. But that's the thing, though. Like, I've always beefed with Southerners from the Valley, but if I seen a Southerner from LA, I'll be like, damn, that's a rare kind. Like growing up in the Valley, we want to beef, or back then when I was used to be one, we wanted to beef with Northerners and Southerners that were in our areas because they're invading our areas. But
Right.
the dude from LA, he wouldn't even be no threat, because I'm like, bro, he more likely here with his family on a barbecue, see some, whatever.
Yeah.
But even then, Northerners go down to LA. Like, I've heard it from so many Southsiders, like, bro, we don't give a damn about you guys up north. We got enemies of our own to kill each other. We don't care about some dude wearing red, some farmer. So it's like not a really big deal unless you want to make it a big deal.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I feel like the average Northerner, if you come down here, like in particular, if you're doing like more touristy type stuff, I mean, what are the odds you're going to run into somebody who's actually got an issue with you? Pretty low, right?
I went to even as a dropout, I went to Santa Fe swap meet, and nobody said nothing to me.
Yeah.
Nobody said nothing to me. And I've been to certain towns in LA wearing red, and no one's ever confronted me. I feel like Southerners, they just focus on each other. Like they know who they want to go to war with. It wasn't until I got like famous when everybody seen that video that I posted of me at the Santa Fe swap meet, when everybody's like, bro, you come back, you're gonna get murdered. And I'm like, who said I was gonna be back? It was just a one-time thing. I just heard about it and I wanted to go see it, and it was a good experience. I seen a lot of beautiful women, and I seen the Chicano culture out there, and it was good. But like, you ain't gonna see me in LA all the time, bro. Like, I wasn't really in LA.
I feel like the reason why is because the dudes who are actually burnt out enough to crash out on some guy that they've never met because they can tell by the way he's dressed or whatever that he's from another gang are just not really, those are the kind of guys that for the most part are staying on their block. They're not really like going to the Santa Monica Pier. They're not walking up and down Hollywood Boulevard patrolling. They're in their own neck of the woods.
They just stuck in their own little realm. They ain't making moves. That's the ones that talk the most. That's why I don't like. I come to LA every once in a while, most of the time, and like there's no fear in it, because like I said, everybody's gangbanging in these little small areas. The places where I'm going and the things that I'm doing, like I don't have to worry about gangs. I've been to Santa Monica Pier. I've been to Venice Beach, wearing red, and it didn't affect me, because since I've been out of LA, nobody's really banged on me except at Six Flags.
Oh yeah, what happened to Six Flags?
My baby mama at the time was pregnant, and I'm not very educated in a lot of aspects of life, so I thought maybe we can go get on some rides, but since she has a baby, she couldn't get on a lot of them, but I wanted the experience, so I was like, she got on a couple, and I had just been popping on YouTube, and I seen this Southerner, he had a blue rag, and he was all tatted up, and he asked me, he's like, are you renegading? I was like, yep. I was like, what it is. And then I swear, he just shook my hand, gave me a hug. He's like, hey, fool, just keep through, child, bro. Like, you don't want to get caught out here like that. And I was like, no, I just came to Six Flags to ride the Batman and the Riddler. He was like, all right, fool, okay, cool. And he just let me walk. And I was like, cool. Same thing happened in Anaheim when I went to Adventureland or Adventure City.
Okay, sounds familiar.
Yeah, it has like little rides. I took
California Adventure, Wild Adventure or some shit.
No, it was like Adventure something. It's right across the street from like Knott's Berry Farm.
Yeah.
Southerners right there hit me up and were like, what you doing down here? And I was like, just enjoying the rides with my kids. And they were like, cool, all right, fool, stay up, bro. And I'm like, so I get a lot of love. I haven't really ran into people that really want to smoke, but it's like I said, those are going to be individuals that really just looking for a body, and they're in their hood doing it. They're not in these neutral places where I'm going to be at, where I'm just looking to have fun, looking to enjoy what LA has to offer, which is very small when you really think about it. It's more gangs and more just big cities than anything.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I mean, just even in general, like when I go out and about, like if I go to the mall for a couple hours, it's like almost never do I even see dudes who are on some tough shit, on some gangster shit, etc. Like it feels like such a rarity. And then if you do run into some dude who's like from a gang or whatever, it's like, what are the odds that they're gonna trip out on somebody that they're like not supposed to get along with? It's just like it takes so much for you to actually feel the need to put yourself out there, especially knowing that nobody is there to witness you not causing a commotion. I feel like people, for the most part, when they press somebody, especially somebody that they have like theoretical beef with from the internet, it's more just like for respect or for show. And if you don't have people around to like judge how you're behaving, then it's just like, who cares? It's easy for you to walk away, right?
I think what's even more dangerous in today's generation is that back in my generation, you can tell who was not a gang member and who was. Now every dude with a fade and a taper or a mullet and a bowl cut looks like a gang member. You're like, and you could be just some average kid that just likes to wear pro club. You look at him like, bro, that fool probably wants to smoke, bro. Like, that fool, he looks dangerous. He probably got something on him, and it might not even be the case. But you can't tell with these gang members anymore because these kids are so young. So like, to me now, today's generation, I look around like, if I feel like it's a potential, then I'm just gonna get myself out the way. You know what I mean? But other than that, back in my day, it was easy to tell who was a gang member. Now, you don't know what these kids are up to.
But do you think that that's just because like so many of the popular rappers are gangsters or gang members or whatever, so the kids want to dress like gang members, so they dress up like whoever they're feeling, or they're going to go buy some jeans, they're going to buy some jeans that kind of look like their favorite rapper, and their favorite rapper is a gangster, so like it's just sort of melds together.
Yeah, it's a trickling down effect. A lot of these kids just, I see so many people that hit me up and they just like, they'll either just disrespect me on my IG, and I'm like, bro, you didn't even look like a gang member, you just dressed like one. Everybody, I think this gang culture gotten so big in California where if you want to make it on social media or be somebody on social media, you gotta look the part. Even if you're not one, you gotta look the part, because that's what gets the most attention online, and that's what is influencing a lot of these kids. And I'm trying to teach kids now, like, bro, you ain't gotta dress like that, you ain't gotta act like that, you ain't gotta talk like that, you ain't gotta say the N-word 1,000 times, you ain't gotta, every time you take a picture, it's like, what the hell is that, bro? Just like, take a regular picture, bro. Like, do you want to impress dudes, or you trying to get women, bro? Because the ratio for single men and single women is like 5-1. There's women out here, there's numbers to get, but instead you want to impress that dude over there for his respect. Like, his respect ain't gonna get you nowhere.
Yeah.
But that's all I see, and sometimes I'll be like, man, I'm kind of glad that I grew up.
Yeah. No, definitely. And that's a nice thing about being 40 or nearly 40 in your case, is that, you know, so much of that stuff that just seems super important when you're 18, 19, this like fascination with violence and respect and revenge or whatever, that like a lot of that just really tends to drift away as time goes by, and you realize there's better things in life.
I prefer peace and tranquility now.
Yeah.
And in my craft, like I said, YouTube is my hobby because, like I said, I'm sober. I've been sober for a long time, coping with that and trying to be sober out here in society. When, you know, it's hard being a 9-to-5 worker, having a job, paying bills and all that, getting taxed like crazy. You know, I use YouTube as my hobby. I've developed my friendships through YouTube, and you know, sometimes I try to show these kids, like, look, man, I did 15 years straight in prison. I didn't go in and out like some of these repeated offenders. I did it straight, maxed out my first year on riots. And I came home with $200, and look where I'm at. I've been making over $105K the last 3 years on YouTube. Like, if I can do it, and I started from none, I came out from a prison cell, from a concrete tomb. Why don't y'all do that? Instead of just posting a picture with a pistol, like, you get nowhere, but you're just gonna fill up my bunk. That's all you're doing.
Dude, that $105K per month or per year, that's amazing. I love to hear those stories about people who are really able to make something dope for themselves, like keep a job, or like not necessarily even have it like be the focal point of their whole life, and still be able to have like a crazy extra source of income. That's fire.
Yeah, my job pays me like $28 an hour. I work 10, 12-hour shifts Monday through Friday. But on the weekend, the moment I wake up, drink my cup of coffee, I'm right there just getting all these stories, making all these phone calls, editing all these videos. So by the time Sunday night comes and I'm getting ready for work, I got about 10 videos for the week. And I just keep doing that repeatedly until my videos stack up. And then once I have a lot, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to drop all these first while I study and look for other topics. So while I'm working, I'm still making money. I'm editing, and then the money just building itself, and I just save all that money. So you haven't thought about going full time and quitting your job, or is? I did when I left California. I did for like 4 months, and those were probably like my best months. But that was during a time when I was really clout chasing, and I don't want to become that no more. I didn't like the person that I became, and I see other people do that when they make videos about other people when they really ain't got nothing going for themselves. I just told myself, what do I look like being a grown man sitting on a couch watching what another man does, and then I make a video about it, whether it's constructive criticism, whether it's making fun of them, talking down on them, or even positivity. Like, these people are out here making moves. That's why they're the subject matter. So even though I was making like 10 grand, 12 grand, 11 grand those months, full time would have to be something like promising. YouTube is not promising because, like I said, I've had good months and I've also had bad months.
Yeah.
Sometimes I make only 5 grand a month, and then there's times where people give me some content, and next thing you know, I'm making 8, 10 grand a month.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to, I would do it, but YouTube ain't my focal point. Having a career, having a retirement plan, that's my end goal. So I figured, like, I'm 38. This is a young man's game. But if I can do it like 2 more years, 3 more years, if I can get big like Swamp Stories or get big like, what's that, War in Cali or
Yeah.
or even Killer Chronicles. If I could do a video where you could just do one, get like 500,000 views, 1 million views, that's money right there. But I'm not there yet. So
yeah, at that point, it would probably be hard to keep the normal job. But I feel like I would say keep the normal job as long as possible, just because at a certain point, like, if you're the kind of person that needs to like really make like at least 1 or 2 videos a day, that could just really kind of suck the fun out of it. And especially like there's a lot of great content creators who don't upload that much, but if they were to like really be profit maximizing, then they would be, they'd be streaming all the time and they'd be making videos about people that they wouldn't normally make videos about, just to, get as much money as possible. And I feel like a lot of that might kind of suck the life out of a channel.
There was a time where I talked about it on my YouTube channel, but I was like, I had talked to this one YouTuber, Flacco. He's in Arizona prison right now, but he was like, hey, don't get lost into this world. And I've heard it from other YouTubers. And they're like, don't get lost into this world because it's drama. So when I seen the drama happening with YouTubers against YouTubers, that's when I fell back. I was like, bro, what are we doing? Like, we beefing with each other when we supposed to be creating content. But then there was times when my son was born, when I wasn't working, that I was making 11,000, 12,000, but I wasn't spending no time with my son. I was literally like all day and all night. By the time I knew it, he was going to bed, and I didn't even hold my son. I didn't feed him. I didn't change his diaper. And I felt bad. I was like, man, I'm over here neglecting my son to talk about Swifty, to talk about this guy, talk about Crip Mag. I'm like, what the hell, dude? So I started falling back to where my weekends I dedicate to my kids. I do my videos from 11 to 1 in the morning. And then after that, I put the phone down. I put the iPad down because I just do it with a simple iPad and an iPhone. And I go spend time with my kids. And if it ain't worth talking about, I won't talk about it. If it means I get only 3,000 next month, hey, 3,000 is better than 0. So I just take my time now. But if I really invested in my craft a little bit better and took more time on my videos, yeah, I might be the next Swamp Stories. I might be the next Warren Cali or Hood Archives. But I also have a job, and that's far more important because that's going to give me my house. That's my 401k I'm putting into. So I want to be a big content creator. It's just this gang and prison culture genre, this is dying. It's dying.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen it sort of slowly dying for like 10 plus years because, I remember when like Cali Muscle came out and it was like he's doing the prison spread videos and it's like brand new and they're doing millions of views. Yeah. And then as time goes by, it starts to really like flesh itself out, and all of a sudden you got people like 23-1, 1090 Jake, Pino, etc. All these people coming out and sort of like telling stories about themselves and shit that they seen in jail. But the truth is that is really like, there's only so much you can really do in terms of like, like a race riot. It's like the craziest thing that most people could ever imagine even witnessing. But once you talked about it a couple of times, it's kind of like, okay, yeah, a bunch of people beating each other up. What else? What else you got to talk about? And so somebody like 1090 smart because he managed to like expand out of that and find his own lane, just talking about crazy up street shit in general, and touching on the rappers, everything like that. But it's it's difficult to find your own lane, and we kind of seen that over and over, where a lot of dudes who get success with the prison stuff, it's just not really meant to last unless they find a good way to pivot.
I'm trying to pivot right now. Like, I remember when 1090 Jake reached out to me. He did a video one time, and he mentioned me, so I thought that was cool. Got to talk to him only once or twice.
Oh, okay.
But I would love to be like 1090 Jake and just find my pivot. My pivot was You know, I started off on YouTube talking about me because I was beefing with a lot of Northerners at the time. I was part of a gang. I was against Northerners at the time. And then throughout time, I started beefing with my own gang until finally my son was born. And I was like, bro, what am I doing, bro? Like, I got a blessing right here. YouTube money. And back then I wasn't making crap, but I still looked at it like, man, it's helping me with the rent. God damn it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to be a narcissist by talking about myself. Because, look, anybody that's been in these prison genres or does these prison crap, bro, there ain't no million stories to talk about. I've told my stories. I've had some cool, like, war stories, like, you know, being in a cell with a homie and we did something funny or stupid. But to sit there and say, man, every day I was politicking, every day I was stabbing somebody, every day I watched people, man, that's a load of crap. It don't go down like that. I did 15 years in prison, and I was on some of the worst yards, and there's peace, there's quiet. People are having fun, writing letters. So I that's when I just said, you know what? I'm gonna tell other people's stories. I'm gonna get into true crime because, you know, I used to watch a lot of true crime documentaries. I was like, let me do that, but from the gang aspect. And it's worked. It's not gonna work for long, but it's worked. For the past 2 years, all I've been doing is talking about gangs in LA, gangs up north, gangs in Washington. But it's mostly Northerners and Southerners, and even that's gonna reach a point and it has its limitations. So I'm at that point. It's either if I don't find something next to do that's gonna be fulfilling, then yeah, I'm gonna walk away from this YouTube like it was a blessing and thank you guys and try to do podcasting or something else. But I found my lane, but I still see that this new lane for me that I've done it better than most YouTubers is still a limitation, and I get tired of limitations.
So do you feel like why would the Northern or Southerner content kind of dry up? Just because you feel like you've covered so much of it, or do you feel like that in general is kind of dying out? No, right? That shit's gonna be around forever.
Look, I got content on just Southern California for probably for the rest of this year, guaranteed. Northerners, you don't really hear a lot of the drama like that, like you do in Southerners. But it's the same narrative. This dude pulled up on this dude, asked him if he banged, seen his color, shot him, and then I just read the police reports and then I show the pictures of the victims. So I try hard to find positive messages or conveying messages, or just, you know, I look at a story and be like, what can I tell these kids of what not to do or what it looks like? But it's the same thing. It's just a gang member pulled up on another gang member, boo-hoo. They're just smoking each other.
Yeah.
There's nothing new about it. There's nothing intriguing about it other than people just want to hear because most of the time when I do that, it's the gang that I talk about. They show up in the comment sections like, yeah, we did that. We put in work. Or it's a Southerner like, well, you ain't doing it over here. And I just see a bunch of net bangers just banging and arguing with each other. I'm like, bro, y'all missed the whole point. Two fools got smoked. And one of your homeboys got smoked. And then you retaliated and smoked him. Like, what was the end result?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I feel like the origin of the genre was like stories that were about famous people for the most part, you know, or like even like somebody like Academic starts with the war in Chirac. He didn't start with it, but that was like a huge thing for him in the beginning. And then that has gone from like, oh, okay, we're talking about like rappers and their friends to like, then eventually it was like, okay, well, we kind of ran out of stories to tell about rappers and their friends. So instead we're going to talk about like every different gang beef from not just famous gangs or gangs that are associated with famous rappers, but instead we're going to talk about every violent incident that happens ever. I feel like that was almost like 1090 Jake's like big breakthrough realization is that like, oh, if there's like a crazy drive-by shooting, I can do a video about it. It don't matter if there's like a famous person involved. Like people want to know about this crazy shit, period. But now that has henceforth spawned like a million other sort of copycats that are kind of doing the same thing. So now it's like a crazy rat race to tell these stories. Sometimes like there's stories where when I like, if I go back, I'm doing research or I'll like see a video about a crazy incident and I'm like, oh, this video came out like 2 years after that thing happened and it was the first person to make a video about it. That's not happening anymore. Now, a rapper gets shot up in their car, hundreds of videos instantly about it.
Yeah. It's cool though because if you really think about it, that's where a lot of the money's at. Like even people that are not involved in the gang life are so intrigued with it. So that's why I get real in depth. Like I talk to the families, I talk to the families of the victims, the families of the suspects. I'll dig up their homie's hood and I think everybody, since I made myself so accessible, everybody reaches out to me when they know I'm going to talk about it. And it'd be like dudes from these gangs that are acting like, man, this was an inside story. So to make it more intriguing, and when I do the videos, it gets the numbers. And I'm like, that was a crazy story. And then when I hear about why they got smoked and what they did to get smoked, I'm sitting there doing the story like, God damn, you guys are wilding out, bro, over an Instagram live? All right. Over a tagging? Okay. And then they'll show me pictures. And that's how I've gotten good at the craft. But like I said, like it's already running its course. Because everybody's talking about it. Now, I've seen AI generated videos that get bigger numbers than me, and I'm like, bro, like I'm over here putting in hella work, and this dude just used AI generated stuff, typed up a little speech, and he won more than me.
Bro, the AI generated stuff, if anything is going to take down YouTube as a whole, like TikTok is like an existential threat to YouTube in general. There's so many YouTubers I think about who used to do vlogs 10 years ago, 5 years ago, etc. that like that kind of content doesn't really exist anymore because now people would rather consume that kind of content in short form. And then once you throw AI in the mix, like some of the documentary YouTubers that I talk to, they look at that shit as like, that's the thing that's going to fuck this whole game up. Like Traplo Ross is a good example where he used to make these like very beautiful, long, multi-hour long documentaries about gangs, about rappers, about whatever. And he still does that, but it's like much, much harder for him to find topics that are actually interesting enough to people to justify doing a 2-3 hour documentary. And now for the most part, he just makes these sort of like short 10-20 minute long videos where like some breaking news happens. He makes a video basically just like reacting to it on the fly. It's not scripted, anything like that. And the fact that that is working way better for him than putting together these really polished 2-3 hour documentaries, to me kind of says everything about the audience. They're just like, they've just been overexposed to such a crazy extent. And now they want stuff right now. And if you're going to tell me that story a month later, like, nah, like I'm already into all that. Like I want to hear the tidbits, break bit by bit.
Yeah, that's just gonna destroy us. Like nobody's really authentic no more. Like I like to watch people. Like I want to see the person talk.
Yeah,
I want to see him tell the story.
Yeah,
so that's why I still stay on camera. I don't use nothing AI at all. I don't even use I edit my own thumbnails. I stay away from all that crap. ChatGPT. Like I'm more old school. Like if we gonna put in the work, put in the work. So every dollar that I earn from YouTube is because I sat there on that desk and on that computer and made these phone calls and I got it done.
Yeah.
Kind of like Los Angeles Times, the way they do it. I just think there's the authenticity and realism, I think, is more important to people than these bullcrap AIs. But you got to give it to like Swamp Stories. He uses AI and that boy hit 1 million views on that Diddy video. I was like, oh my God.
Wait, really? He used AI for that, you think?
I think, like, if you look at the one where he did, like, with the Northerners and Southerners or the Mexican Mafia, a lot of this AI generated, like, images. A lot of the videos.
Oh, the images for sure. But already the thumbnail thing, like, it came out. A lot of people probably were like, oh, I'm going to save money by doing these AI thumbnails. But then meanwhile, every like high quality channel that you look at doesn't use AI thumbnails. I feel like AI thumbnails make you look like a bum, like off rip. It's just like, oh, if you see that specific art style, you're like, oh, never mind.
A thumbnail that's AI generating gonna catch my attention.
Yeah, I know.
But if it's some real, like you crafted it and you made it look raw, then I'm like, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the best documentaries that people that put it together, Killer Chronicles.
Yeah.
Like if you watch his stuff, man, I can get so invested in his videos. Will be like an hour long, and I'll be right there like, God damn, this fool put together. And he's using some AI software, but his authenticity and his investigations blow your mind, especially when it comes to like Northerners and Southerners.
I mean, YouTube, in theory, or I hear that they're taking down tons of AI channels, which is really interesting because another tech platform like Spotify is like embracing it. Like they want AI music on their platform because it kind of like lowers the value of music. So like an AI music creator is going to expect to get paid less than an actual artist who has to go on tour and is expecting for the music to actually like pay their rent and everything like that. So I feel like YouTube is actually one of the only platforms that's actually really aggressively trying to, you know, lessen the AI effect, which is kind of crazy.
I don't want to be in competition with a damn robot. I'm trying to compete with other content creators. You know, it's friendly competition. They make a bad video. Sometimes, you know, we're all talking about the same subject.
Yeah.
Let's see whose numbers win. Let's see who's the best content creator. Let's see who actually talks about it better than anybody. Let's go back to those school days when it was just friendly competition, get the views up. AI is just killing it for me too. I'm like, man, I hate it. Every time I open up YouTube, everything's AI. I'll be like, man, I just close the app. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna just go back to Instagram.
Like for me, I use it because like if I'm writing a script or if I'm putting together information, it saves me a lot of time. Like if I want to, you know, tell me 5 rappers who've had this kind of controversy. Boom, it's like right in front of me. It would have taken me a lot longer to Google that stuff, but I use it more just like a search engine. You know, I'm not letting it write the whole script for me, and or I will let it rewrite a script for me sometimes. But even that, then I'll be reading it. I'll have to go through and edit that script a bunch myself because I know it doesn't sound like me, and you know it'll change little things, etc. that I won't really understand. But yeah,
no, I like the process. Like when somebody throws a topic, and I'll be like, ooh. And I go into this whole rabbit hole when it comes to these murder investigations and these gang investigations. I'm looking up this art dude, his mugshot. I'm looking up his paperwork, his back history. I'm reading the whole paperwork. I'm getting the transcripts. I reach out to the families. I'm looking up on Facebook who's his relatives. I go down rabbit holes sometimes where I'll be like, it'd be a whole day on one video, but I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be a bad video. Like the video I'm dropping this week on Renegade Media. It's about a murder in Westlake, and it has like 3 individuals from Rockwood got killed by Diablos 13. And like, I went down like a whole weekend of reading the murder report, watching the surveillance footages, looking at the mug shots, and then reaching out to that neighborhood, Dia 13. That whole process to me is fun. So that's why I just stay away from all, search engines and stuff. I gotta get deep in it because I want to get the story right.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff that the AI is not realistically going to do. Like one of the things that I've seen Trapper Ross do is like he'll have somebody on his team, or he'll even do it himself, and there's, say there's like 2 rappers and one, is allegedly killed the other one, but the other one has like a brother who's been running his mouth on Facebook for the last 5, 6, 7 years. And he'll spend like a whole day going through every single Facebook post. Like imagine the days that he spent going through every single King Von tweet just to find the ones where, and then to match up the timestamps to be like, oh, like this is what he tweeted 2 hours after he allegedly committed this murder. The AI is not going to be able to put this stuff together. Once you document it, then the AI might really be able to, because it could like access your mind or whatever. But like, I see people use it in crazy ways all the time. Like even like my doctor gave me like a report the other day, and this girl that works for me just like sent me like the AI summary of it right away. And I was just like, oh, like she's younger. Like she just thought of that right away. Like of course, why wait for the doctor to tell you what this form or this like, all these details that came out, like why wait for the doctor? You can just give it to the AI. The AI is going to tell you exactly what it means.
But that's why Trap Lord makes the money that he makes.
Yeah.
If you think about it, those kind of videos and those kind of views, especially if they're watching the whole thing, every single ad, bro, you're making 5,000-7,000 off one video.
Oh yeah.
Off one video. Now me, I got to do 35 videos a month just to cross that threshold of 5,000 to 7,000. These dudes, to me, hard work pays off.
I mean, that's the problem with that sort of like documentary style thing that Ross does, is that it's like, I think if the video makes $7,000, then it might not pay for itself, because you got so many people doing the research and editing it and working on it and stuff like that. So that's kind of crazy to think, like at that point, if you need to be able to make $10,000 off the video in order for it to make sense, that business doesn't really make that much sense, because how many stories are there that you can make $10,000 off one video? And
that's why I do everything limited. Solo, bro, with an iPad Pro and a tripod, and it's just me and my computer, and it's all money to me. I mean, yeah, my editing's mediocre and it's low level. It ain't top tier, but I'm getting by. I've been paying off my vehicles. I've been stacking money. I take my kids to places. I take my kids all over the world. So the hard work pays off. Just I have to make some necessary sacrifices. I ain't out there partying. I ain't out there drinking. I ain't going on dates with girls. I'm just at home like, all right, let's get this money. And eventually it's going to pay off in the long run. I'm already on my 3rd vehicle, paying off my 3rd vehicle off YouTube, and I already got money set aside for a house, so that's gonna be my son's name. So it pays off, but like I said, I want to be on that next level where I could just do it by myself with just that one video. Because I know 1090J got a team too, and they edit and stuff and his production.
Well, he's interesting because he actually like used to spend like 8 hours editing each video. He told me. Now he just kind of records it live as he goes. He just, he's just like reading shit and reacting to different edits and stuff like that. And like, he doesn't have to do any editing now. And he's actually like kind of getting more views. So I feel like a lot of people are coming to this realization that a lot of the production stuff, making your videos more high quality, etc., doesn't really add much to it. Like you just got fans who want information, and they're not really that picky about you making it like the most polished, clean product ever. They just kind of want to know what's going on.
Bro, iPad Pro that I've had paid off for 5 years, and that's been my source of income. It cost me $1,100. I got a tripod and I got some lights like this, put it in front of me, and I sit in my room in my desk and I just record, and I still make the same amount of money as a lot of other YouTubers. I like the productions like this. I feel like, they're useful and they're resourceful. Editing's a good business, but I edit everything myself, and it takes me 30 minutes to edit a video.
Yeah.
And I just, overlay all the pictures, and just, like I said, it's still mediocre, low level. But if I can do it and make $10,000 a month, a lot of these other people can be doing the same thing. Just be authentic and just be you and just find something that's nobody's talked about. That's what I've done. Find stuff that nobody's really talked about.
Facts. Yeah. I'm kind of going like super out of order here, but let's talk a little bit about your upbringing and everything. Like, as far as your family life and everything that kind of led to you making the decision to get into the streets. What was the environment like that you grew up in? What were you exposed to at that time?
I grew up in Tulare all my life. I lived on the east side, west side most of the time, and this is all Northerners. There were Southern gangs there.
Mm-hmm.
I just got fascinated with it. Like, I grew up in a good household. I knew my mom. I knew my dad. I had a stepdad. It was a paisa. Nothing really encouraged me to gangbang other than just every time I went outside, I see the homies from my hood flamed up, bad lowriders, smoking weed, drinking, pocket full of money, women just drooling all over them. I just liked it. I started off small, just like fighting Crips, fighting my own homies in the backyard, and I just kept liking it. I liked the violence. I liked the whole idea of it. So finally, when I just started coming around, I would just like mimic one of my cousins that passed away. Anytime he'd wear like a Nautica hat with a black shirt and some jeans, I'd wear the same thing. And then I would go out there and they knew I was his cousin. So they're like, oh, he's trying to be east side. He's trying to be the homie from the hood. I'm like, yeah. And then throughout time and progress, I would just fight whoever I wanted to fight to show people that I fought. And the homies from the hood noticed it and they finally were like, oh, you want to get put on? You want to be from the hood? I'm like, hell yeah. Just got encouraged by the culture. That's all it was. I was just influenced by the culture. I didn't grow up in a product environment, bull crap. I didn't need nobody to force me into it because I didn't have family. I had a great family. I just wanted to gangbang. I was just in love with gangbanging. So once they jumped me in the hood, they dropped me off in Tulare indoor swap. It was an indoor swabbing on the west side. And I just put in work on the south side and got arrested the very next day and was gone for 3 years. I wasn't even in my hood for a couple months.
Just for a fight, or?
No, I beat him up with a baseball bat.
Oh, wow.
I was 13 years old.
And it was a totally random Southsider that they basically, this was like a ritual to sort of like prove how down you were. It's just like, you got to just go take off on.
My homies from the east side drove me all the way to the west side. And we were already beefing with west siders, Northerners. And they just dropped me off because we knew that there was going to be Southerners at the indoor swap meet. That's where they go to buy their clothes and their music. And I got lucky that day. I stood there, waited for a few hours, seen dude show up. He was taking pictures with his pregnant girlfriend. They were wearing all baby blue and dark blue laces. And you know how he had like those posters where it had like little smile now calculators in the background?
Yeah.
And he was taking a picture, and I had a baseball bat, and I just started beating on that dude in front of everybody in a baseball bat. I tried to swing at her because she tried to get in my way. Beat him up bad, left him there bloody, ran out there, left the bat, ran to my hood. Very next day, I went home, I crashed out, woke up. Cops came and arrested me, and I was like, oh, damn, because there was cameras in there. But I was 13 years old. I didn't think about cameras. There was cameras in there, and they got me. I went straight to CYA after that for 3 years.
And how did those dudes that had originally put you on, like, how did they react to it? Like, were they looking at this like a bad situation, or is this like, oh, okay, he's down?
I mean,
it was like your first stripes, right?
Yeah, it was I was from my hood. The only thing is, now that I think about it, I was like, bro, I was in my hood for like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
I got jumped in, and 2-3 months later, like, hey, bro, you need to go put in some work. So I went to YA, and I would see homies come through juvie or going to YA, and I would see them in YA, and they'd be like, hey, for the homies, got love for you, brother. Can't wait for you to come home. And that's all I ever really heard. Some of them wrote me every now and then, like once every other year, but I went to YA and was like, all right, I got to start gangbanging for the homies. Now I got to represent Eastside Tulare. So I was just in YA meeting Norteños from San Jose, Norteños from like the Bay and stuff like that. And my whole life just ended up just being gangbanging north versus south because I wasn't in my town no more. I was incarcerated in juvie and in CYA, just putting in work on Bulldogs and Southsiders. That became my life for like 3 years. Not even my hood no more.
And so your dad wasn't around to have an opinion on this, or was he?
Nah, hell no.
Okay.
My dad was just my dad hated gangs, to be honest with you.
Okay, but you had a good relationship with him at one point, or no?
Nah, he was never in my life, but I talked to him. I had a stepdad that was a paisa. And he had an opinion on it because he was raising me with my real daddy. I just remember one time he seen me with a red rag, and he was like, bro, you're part of a gang? He's like, that's stupid. He's like, if you're going to do something, make some money. Because my dad pushed cocaine a lot. He pushed a lot of weight. And he's like, if a real man will make money, bro, you need a gang to be on to be a man, or what? You can't stand on your own 2 feet. He used to lecture me, but he wasn't a part of my life to stop me.
Right.
And nobody was. I just had a mom, a stepdad, but my stepdad didn't intervene. So my mom had 2 jobs, didn't watch me all the time. So when I got home from school, I went to the streets. And that was it. Nobody really tried to stop me.
Right. Yeah, I mean, okay, I was listening to a podcast the other day where somebody said that they asked this dude, what's the biggest delusion that you find you have a hard time like actually accepting and living your life on the basis of that? And I guess like a lot of studies and tests have been done, and the gist of it is that like you think that the way that you raise your kid, that if you put your kid in a really good school, that if you know, like aside from just taking care of your kid on a basic level, that a lot of the extras that a parent puts into their kid's life really doesn't matter that much. Your kid just kind of is what they are, and you can try to guide them in the right direction, but a lot of that just doesn't really do as much as you want to believe that it does. So when you look at your life, because I think that about myself, like my parents tried pretty hard. They like, you know, definitely wanted the best for me to have a normal life and everything. And I was really just attracted to a bunch of crazy shit. Luckily, it wasn't like gangs and stuff, but at least I like, you know, wanted to party and wanted to like, you know, stay out all night, hang out with girls, get into fights, all this bullshit. And like, when you think about it, like, does that ring true that like your parents really tried to give you a certain life and it just didn't matter because you already knew who you were?
That is true. My mom's been a nurse all her life. She raised me right. When I walked out them streets, I gangbanged, and I loved gangbanging. I loved holding the gun in my pocket. I loved fighting as soon as I seen somebody wearing blue. My mom did her best, and even then, even today, you can ask her, and she'll be like, "I don't know what happened to you. I don't know where you went left." Because my brother, if you met my brother, man, he's really successful. You know, he's a very good social influencer. He's had a great life. We're from the same mom. He just chose not to gangbang. I chose to gangbang. It's what your kids want to do. That's why I fear for my kid now. So I'm raising my kid in environments where there ain't no gang, so you don't even have to be reminded of it or be exposed to it. I'm raising my kid on ranches, so he's gonna know about cows and he's gonna know about horses before he knows about gangs. As a parent, you can try your best, man, but you gotta let your kids decide what they want to do with life. Because I decided mine, and that's how I ended up in 15 years in prison, just thinking gangbanging was cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's like, I feel like it's like a pretty normal experience for like a young dude. Your body is just coursing with testosterone from a young age, and you want to be involved with some tough shit. You know, you want to like, a lot of young people want to go through a hero's journey. They want to go through some hard shit so that they can come out on the other end of it a more fully formed dude. You know, a lot of like even more innocent stuff. Like when I think about being young and how so many dudes that I was around were just in this like race to get tatted up. It's like, when I think about it, like, why? Because they felt like if they got tatted up, that separated themselves from being a little boy. Like, oh, now I'm a man. I got tattoos, or you know, I 10 girls. I'm a man now, or I beat this guy up. I'm a man now. And it's like, when you think about that, it's just so crazy how like, you know, and I see that with my kid. She's 5. She's in a real rush to be like a grown up, even though she doesn't know what grown up is, but she's always talking about, when I'm 6, is it going to be like this? Or, you know, when I'm 8, like what am I going to do? Like all this shit. Or like, you know, she's always asking us like what age do you start high school? Like, she's just so fascinated with getting older. I feel like that's like an incredibly consistent thing with young people. And, you know, with guys especially, it's like, you know, it's not just getting older. It's like, no, I want to be mature. I want to get to the point where I've been through a lot of what life has to offer.
Yeah, I said that too. But now look at me. I'm paying all kinds of bills and getting federally taxed. I'm like, bro, I want to go back to being a kid. But I grew up in the system. So like coming home, like I'm so institutionalized and like still confined to myself, still isolated. Whereas like, bro, I didn't even give myself a chance to grow up. I grew up in prison. I got to prison when I was 18, turning 19. So like, I'm still learning how to be a man out here, like the responsibilities of a man, the being a provider, being a leadership of my household. That's all a new learning experience, because all I ever knew was like, man, gangbang, beat up a Southsider, putting in work on a bulldog if I ever see him, and go to war with whites when I get a chance. That's a messed up way to grow up. And as I was young, I used to listen to this song by GUN. It was a Norteños CD back in the day. It was called Pinta Bound. Dude, who as a 13-year-old kid wants to go to prison? But I would listen to that song, Pinta Bound, all day by Sir Dino, and I'll be like, God damn, I want to go to prison. And it's a trip, right? Because I was in YA and I was watching this documentary on prison, and it was about Corcoran Shoe. And I seen all the knives, I seen all the tattoos. It was like back old documentary when they had the weight piles and stabbing videos. And I remember me and a homie from Hollister, Mousy from Hollister, were watching it. We're like, yeah, I want to go to prison. Let's go put in work with the homies.
Yeah.
Who thinks like that?
Yeah.
That was me. Like my adulthood idea was going to prison and really putting in work and being this big notorious gangster. And then when I got there, I'm like, bro, it ain't nothing what I seen in the documentary. It's Disneyland. And yeah, I try to aspire to be somebody in prison. Got done dirty, multiple times, and I realized when I got home, I was like, bro, I spent like 13 to 32 in prison, incarcerated, and ended up with nothing. I didn't know how to change a tire. I didn't know how to fill out a resume for a job. I didn't even know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
And to this day, 5 years later, sometimes having a general conversation with people, I have a hard time doing it. I'm like, God damn, like there ain't nothing else to talk about. You guys want to talk about trucks and engines and how to build a car? I'm like, I don't know shit about that. So it put me in an awkward position coming home. But yeah, I grew up in the system.
Definitely. So, okay, when you first get locked up when you're still in high school or whatever, like, do you just get exposed to mad new shit that you weren't on prior to that? In terms of, hustles, scams, different violent acts, etc. Like how do you develop spending those first couple of years locked up?
I already had did YA time, so I knew how to do prison time. I knew how to just sit there and figure out. Keep your mind busy.
Wait, okay, so why when you're in high school, like how long did you actually do?
Went 2001 to 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, that was I just learned how to fight.
Okay.
And that's all you do is fight.
And then you get out, and like how long are you actually on the streets as an adult? Or like when do you actually get sent to prison?
6 months. I was only out 6 months.
Okay.
I had probably slept with like 4 girls, 4 or 5 girls.
Okay.
And then I wound up going to prison on strong arm robberies, gang enhancement. I got caught with a bunch of guns. And working with a big homie that was in prison, and I went to county for like 9 months, and then right there I went straight to prison. And in county, I was just like a breeding ground, like preparations for prison. So I was learning how to do leadership. I was learning how to write. I was learning how to educate. I was learning education. I was seeing people get stabbed. So it was all becoming revealing to me, like what my life was gonna be like going to prison. So I got to prison, New Corcoran, Sat F. I went to the level 4, 180, and man, I just seen fools getting butchered. I was like, oh shit, this is prison. My first year there, I just smoked a lot of weed, and I was just like, man, I'm stressed out, bro. I got 13 more years of this, bro, eating bowls of noodles and peanut butter and honey buns. I was like, oh my God, no women either. Oh, this sucks.
Wow.
But reality set in real fast because I was like, hey, bro, you better man up. You're already behind these doors. Seen a Southsider kill a native. And then I went to war with the whites like in 3 months, and I was like, okay, it's serious now.
And so was the white side of things actually like formidable at that time? Or like I always hear about how like the white section of a prison is typically like not that impressive.
No, they're different. They're too like in their belief system. We went to war with the whites because the administration was saying, you know what, we're not going to sell Northerners with Northerners and Southsiders with Southsiders. And we're going to sell you up with whoever. We're going to sell you up because of overpopulation. If there's an empty bunk, you're going in it. So at first we were like, nah, everybody's going to resist. But after a while, we were like, well, resisting is a form of cowardice. So we started telling you, it's like, all right, we're going to go by the administration's rules. And a Northerner and a white celled up in Soledad State Prison, and a Northerner choked him out, stabbed him up pretty bad. So it started a statewide war. And it barely got to that prison when I showed up. So when the homie comes up to my door, he's like, hey, fool, we're going to go to war with the whites. And I'm like, all right. And we're on lockdown, and then the door popped, and they put my neighbors out for showers and me out for showers. And I just walked out like, okay, I'm going to go to shower. And then I looked to my right, and there's 2 big old white boys. I was like, holy shit, these dudes are huge. And
really?
We just started fighting, and me and my cellie got beat up on a tier. Went to the hole, came back, went to war for a little bit, and stopped. It was nothing to prevent. It was just us battling the administration. But we can't tell. So we're just like, hey, fool, these are our circumstances. Just know we got respect for each other, but we got to go to war to set the example that we're not going to sell up with each other because people are going to get hurt. So we had to go to war through California to tell the administration that we're not going to accept their policy. So a lot of people got hurt in the process.
And so they eventually basically got rid of that policy because they realized it was too dangerous?
Yeah, they got rid of it. They stopped it. Now you can sell up with Northerners. They made sure that only Northerners and Northerners sold up, South and the whites. And that lasted for quite some time, but as you can hear now, everybody's with everybody now. Actives and SNYs they're putting them together. Like they don't even care who gets killed. You guys, we're gonna do it our way, and you guys are gonna have to adjust.
Really?
So it went on for like maybe 12, 15 years that they would not sell you up with anybody else other than your own kind because of that.
I mean, it is kind of crazy because it's like that decision is sort of like the decision that is kind of constantly being made in the real world as well, in the sense that like, you know, is it better to have a multicultural society with all these different people in a big melting pot, which there are probably problems that arise from that, you know, if you have like a ton of different races that are all living in close corners, then like, you know, at some point they're going to have issues with each other, etc. Or if people want to basically isolate themselves into their own little groups, should society just allow them to do that? Because that's kind of like the experiment that's being run in prison all the time. And it's like the fact that the dudes who are in prison just decide, like, you know, diversity, like we just want to be in our little collective because it's safer. But then in the real world, that's not typically how it works. But I guess like the real world is different in a lot of very material ways. People are a lot less dangerous in the real world, so it's like less of a concern.
The best way to control people is when you keep them divided and fighting. Look, you got upper class, middle class, lower class, and then when you get to the lower class, then you got the multiculturalism where it's all the low income poverty people that just turn to gangs and drug selling, and then we fight each other and gets rid of the problem for the middle class and upper class. Let the lower class fight. Same thing in prison. We divided ourselves because the administration had us divided. And then when the administration wanted us to mingle and interact with one another, we went to war with each other because we don't know how to get along with each other. That's what a lot of gang wars stem from, is that we don't know how to get along with each other in prison on the basis that we were divided for years, 10, 15 years. We wouldn't see each other. We had our own yards, our own program. Then you put us together and then you just watched us fight. So we had to learn through like 10, 20 years of going to war and killing people to learn like, okay, we can work with each other, but everybody just becomes racist in jail. Like I wouldn't want to sell up with a Southerner. I look at it like from a racist standpoint, like, bro, that fool's a Mexican, that fool's from down south. I don't want to be part of that fool.
Yeah.
You start discriminating even your own people, and especially a white would look at a Mexican like, I ain't selling up with these beaners, and you see a black like, I ain't selling up with these crackers. Then racism develops. Yeah. And that's why people, it's so much tension in prison because we don't know how to get along with it.
But it's like racism from purely like survival reasons. So it's like very defensible racism because it's like, okay, there's a new Channel 5 video that just came out the other day, and at the end of it, he's showing like a preview of another episode, and it's basically like an all white civilization that these people are trying to set up. It's like basically a bunch of white people who are sick of living around black people and other races and stuff, so they've just taken this section of the woods and they've just like created all these homes and stuff, and this is what they want to do, is they want to create their own all white civilization where they don't have to interact with other cultures at all, because, you know, I'm assuming that some large percentage of these people just like saw some shit on the news and so now they're scared of black people or whatever. But like when you see that from a prison perspective, are you just like, yeah, like if that's how you want to live, if you think that that's safer, go right ahead?
Man, I mean, in prison, man, people are predators. And the cool thing about it is like everybody in prison develop some form of racism and segregation. Ideally, that's what everybody wants, is to be with their own people, but Mexicans slaughter Mexicans all day, whites kill whites all day, blacks attack blacks all day. It's never gonna work. I guess the concept is, you know, men are built for war. We're never gonna get along, but we're never gonna accept each other neither. So the concept is just blown out of proportion. In jail, I just feel like everybody, no matter what the circumstances in jail, don't make you become that. And that's the hard thing to break when you get out, because you're so used to being isolated with your own people, but then you don't trust your own people. And as a Mexican, you hate whites for this reason. And once you learn that for years and it's embedded in you, it's a hard cycle to break. It's a hard characteristic to get rid of, to come out and be like, well, I don't want to be sold up with a black because I've never been sold up with a black for 10 years. So I don't want to be a neighbor with a black. It's really hard, but you learn to break it once you realize like, hey, bro, this is freedom, bro. This is society, man. They love you, love thy neighbor. Nobody's even looking at you like that. Right. Prison, whole different mentality.
Because okay, the two polar opposites that come to mind is like Japan. In Japan, they got probably the lowest crime rate you could ever imagine. It's the cleanest, quietest, safest country that I've probably ever been to. And then on the other side of things, you have like prison, where it's like the amount of societal trust that they have in Japan is just amazing. Like every store you go into, there's no cameras, nobody's stealing anything. It's like completely impossible to even imagine somebody stealing. Never mind, like is people fighting on the street would be like the most mind-blowing thing to those people. They just could never imagine it. Then on the other hand, you have prison, where it's like, this is literally the most violent conniving people imaginable. And it's like Japan, on the other hand, is like there's so much trust. Prison is zero trust. Everybody's out for themselves. It's just kind of like, you can't like figure out how you can arrange a society until you know about the characteristics of the people that are going to be inside that society. Because if you were to take all of these, if you were to dump out a level 4 maximum security prison into Japan would like cease to be Japan pretty quickly. It's like just having like a couple hundred of these guys running rampant in the streets. It's like everybody would stop being so trusting, because all of a sudden there's people running the streets that are like trying to take your shit all the time. They're beating somebody up here and there. And it's like everything would just change so rapidly. It's kind of crazy.
The mentality you're developed in prison, man, it's a hard thing to break when you get home. The way you conduct yourself, the way you act, the way you like. I've been out like 5 years. I hate sarcasm. Sarcasm pisses me off. Really? And if you talk to me like that, I start feeling like my old way. Like, bro, who you talking to like that? Like, and then I have to learn, like, bro, you at work, player. That's your supervisor. He's just joking around. But like, that's why I think going to prison is bad for people, because you develop these bad habits. A lot of dudes come out, beat their women, cheat on their women, and like they're not growing in jail. We're just institutionalized and constantly learning how to become better criminals, or we just have this criminality aspect that we can't get rid of because we're so used to it. That's why, like, at first I used to be like, okay, I'm glad for the leniency laws, but now I'm like, nah, bro, go do your time like I did. I did the whole goddamn thing. You did wrong. Go learn it and change for the better, because if you come out, there's laws set in place that are gonna send your ass right back. Stay in jail, bro, if you don't want to come out and change, bro. That's what they build them for, because I've seen so many people and I've done so many stories on my YouTube channel where they came out of jail and murdered a cop, or they came out of jail and raped some girl and then killed his girlfriend. It's like, going to jail is not helpful at all. And that's why they build them, keep them there.
I know, that's the crazy thing, is that like somebody like you, when you were, you know, in high school and you first get thrown in these situations, it's like everybody knows that when you're thrown into these boxes with like all these different people, that like your odds of becoming a much better, more serious criminal are just like massively inflated. And nobody can think of a better way for us to handle this. Like I honestly have no idea what it would be. Like if a 15-year-old kid sticks a gun in somebody's face and tries to rob them, what do you do with them that doesn't also make them a worse criminal by locking them up? And you got to lock them up, right? You got to do something. Like, what the else are you going to do when they've committed like a very serious crime?
Too many prison activists look at it like, oh, we can save these people. Man, I've been in prison. There's lifers in there like, I swear, I hope that fool don't come home. That fool's gonna murder somebody, because that's all he talks about is murder. You got murderers in there bragging. I've had so many cellies that killed their enemies and just brag about it. I had one cellie who would just hang the picture up of the dead body of the Southsider he killed. I'm like, bro, this
wait, really?
Yeah, like it was a Southsider on a slab. And I was like, hey, I remember telling him, I was like, bro, I hate waking up to that damn picture because it shows his balls, bro. Like, I don't want to wake up every morning and see that fool's balls and, you know, his wiener on the wall. And he was like, man, and he was like proud that he murdered that dude. And there's like a lot of people in jail that the moment a fight starts and somebody's getting stabbed, they get excited.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, you don't want these kind of people in society. But that's what I'm saying. Like, stricter laws, longer sentences. No kid wants to point a gun at somebody on some stupidity decisions and then they can face the court and be like, bro, no, you get found guilty, this 50 years. Because the harsher sentence, I think, will turn a lot more people's lives around, because I'm like, bro, I don't want to go to jail 50 years. Now, I point a gun at this fool and I just take his wallet. That's 7 years, bro. I'll be out when I'm like 31. I'll be cool. I go kick it with the homies, bust some spreads, have some girls write me. They don't take it serious no more because the court systems and the legal systems in California don't take it serious. Lock these dudes up long terms. I've seen lifers in there like, man, miserable. Like, all they want to do is smell freedom again.
Yeah.
They remind them of that.
But I feel like there's a huge difference between a guy who will do something up at 18, because when you're 18, 17, 16, etc., you just like don't have an ability to care about the future, to comprehend that there is a future, to comprehend how little this beef that you're in right now or whatever matters. And so as a result, you have a ton of people that get locked up while they're in their teenage years and they're doing 20 years. And then at some point when they're like, 30, it's like they're a completely different person. The version of themselves that killed somebody or whatever at 18 is just a complete distant memory. And, that just seems like really up. And that's where I think a lot of the prison activism stuff comes from, is just like this understanding like, oh, this people have changed so much. But there's a huge difference between that and like these real top ranking permanent lifelong criminals who just literally are in love with and obsessed with violence. Like, I think to a lot of prison activists, that is just, they refuse to accept that. They refuse to accept that there are people who are so fundamentally up that allowing them back into society just puts everybody at too much risk, and it's just totally untenable.
Nah, like I said, everybody has personal experiences. But like I said, I was incarcerated for a very long time. I seen the mentality. I was 18 years old, bro. I knew robbing these liquor stores and robbing these furniture spots, I knew what the consequences were. I knew every time I shot at this fool, he was going to shoot back. I knew every time that I shot, this fool might die. I knew the consequences. So you can't sit there and say, hey, man, a lot of these kids just don't know better. They're too young. That's just from a parental standpoint where they don't want to see the wrong in their kids. They want to see the innocence. Well, guess what? A lot of these kids ain't innocent. They knew the life they chose. They knew what they were going down. Now would be a good time to educate them before they make the decision. But once they make the decision, it's like, hey, bro, now it's time to grow up since you wanted to act grown. But going to prison, I've seen, like, I rarely ever heard anybody regret what they did.
Really?
I've never heard not one Sally be like, man, I wish I never killed that dude. There was like maybe one where he just socked somebody at the bar and he killed him because his head hit the concrete. And he was like, damn, bro, I got drunk that night. I shouldn't even have been there. I should have been at home with my kids. Yeah. They'll say stuff like that. But most of the people that are in there for murders, especially like all the Southsiders, like, man, they glad they killed their enemy. So like they knew what they were doing.
But you don't think that they privately go through it, or at least have gone through it in terms of the guilt that I feel like the average person just assumes that you can't kill someone without being racked with guilt and like really having to deal with it. But like in prison, it's not the place to admit to that, right? You can't really show weakness.
I think everybody privately does. I did. I was spending nights right there just laying on my bed like, man, I ain't never going to make love again. I'm never going to see my mom again. I'm never gonna eat some homemade tortillas and frijoles. I'm like, and I'd get emotional about it, but like, you can't show that in prison. That's weakness. You got to get ready to gangbang. So like, you have to just put that to the side. But I think everybody does. But most of the complexes that I've seen, they were like, I'm came to prison, so what? Kill some fool. Now I'm gonna kill some other fool, and I'm gonna work for the homies. I'm gonna work for the big homies, and I'm gonna make money. Everybody's just making the best of it. That's why when I came home, I realized like the first 2 years out, I was gangbanging against Northerners. I didn't change. Nobody's trying to change in prison. From what my personal experiences, nobody was really trying to change. I'm just saying for the people that I was around. We all just wanted to gangbang and F off and just, make money and sell dope and slam heroin in our veins. But when I came home, it took 2 years of me finally saying like, hey, do you want to go back to that? If not, because the route you're going, bro, gangbanging with these Northerners and Solari and Visalia, bro, you're gonna go right back to that. Once my son was born, that switch went off. I was like, bro, I got a little kid to take care of, and made all the best decisions of my life to make sure that I got out of California, left the state, moved where I moved, and now I got a hustle and a job, and bro, I'm living life.
Yeah, because I feel like having kids is supposed to change you, and it's kind of scary when you see people have kids where it blatantly doesn't change them, just in the sense of like, even like once I had a kid, it was like I had already like stopped doing drugs and shit, stopped drinking, stopped like really going out all the time and stuff, but it definitely made all that shit seem like way less appealing. And it's kind of crazy when I see somebody like catch like really serious charges for doing something super ignorant right after they have a kid. Like, to me, a kid was all I needed to be like, holy shit, like I don't really care if my life never gets to the next level. I don't really care about being like world famous or super rich or whatever. Like, if I can just like take care of my kid, then I'll be good. Like, that's like really like the baseline thing that I want to accomplish in life. And everything else like on top of that is great. Anything below that, like where I'm like not able to be around my kid or not able to take care of her, is like worst case possible situation. So as soon as I reproduced, it just became like, oh, okay, I have one goal that I need to accomplish. But then you see other people and you realize it didn't have that weight to them. And that's kind of
it did for me.
Yeah.
Now, every time I get a YouTube check, I put it away. Like, I got my job that pays for my son gets whatever he wants. My son's been to so many places in the world. Everything is for my son. Now I'm thinking about the house. I'm thinking about, generational wealth for him. Gangbanging to me is the least of my concern. But sometimes, like, doing my content, I get lost in this world where I was like, damn, man, like, I remember I was doing that kind of stuff. And then I'm constantly thinking about it where I forget, like, hey, bro, you're watching your son right now. You have your son for the weekend. Get that out of your head. So changing from my son was probably one of the best experiences, because he was only 4 months old when I was still gangbanging. And a situation occurred when I was like, bro, dude, that could have been your son. Or they could have caught you sleeping with your son. And there was a time where I actually tried to beef with a Northerner while he was walking his daughter to school. And I caught him slipping on the north side of Ice. And I was like, I should just put in work on this fool now since he's been running his mouth. Then I was like, bro, he has his daughter.
Mm.
Then once everything started hitting and my son was born, I'm like, bro, that somebody's not gonna care that I have my son with me and catch me slipping. Does he need to pay for my stupidity and my actions? So it took a while. It took a while to change because there was always been a part of me where I was like, man, I got done dirty by my people. I could have been somebody. But when you think about it now, I was like, who you would have been? Just some prison gang leader like you were aspiring to be? What do they get? They get noodles every day. You got $2,500 checks. You get 7-8 grand on YouTube. What's more important to you? So now it's like my son is my king. Like I make sure if I'm gonna make a dumb decision or I start thinking a certain way, I just look at my son like, nah, I'm good. I got peace, bro. I got tranquility. I got a home. I got a house and everything.
Yeah, that's one of the most fucked up things over the last few years is just knowing multiple people that got shot up like while they were their kid, like in front of their kid. You know, there was a dude from Chicago, THFTP, who like, you know, walking his kid home from school. The kid, it's like Valentine's Day, which I'll never be able to forget because she's holding like this pink piece of cardboard or whatever, like a school project, and the fool runs up to him and just lays him down right there. Like his kid runs away. And just like seeing that video, seeing Lil Ronnie in Texas, Go Yayo's boy, who was just at the car wash and they just pulled up shooting and his kid was in the car seat and she died too. Like,
I remember that too.
Bro, I mean, that's like the hardest thing for, I think, like normal non-gang members to wrap their head around. But at the same time, it's like in the gang world, being capable of real over-the-top cruelty is a huge part of it. You know, that shit really, like, as much as it's like nobody's gonna sit there and say like, oh yeah, he gets respect because he killed a little girl, being willing to go kill your enemy even when they are with their kid is like in some way like a sign of respect for a lot of these guys to just be like that heartless. And it's hard to accept that that's like the way that they go through life.
Yeah, even crazy now is that my circumstances are far worse than before. Back then, I wasn't known on YouTube. I was just beefing with Northerners from Tulare and Visalia, and you know, I just had to worry about Northerners catching me slipping in my own hood. Once I moved out and became this big YouTuber, now it's like, bro, you can't go nowhere in California because everybody knows you as Renegade Media, and every gang that I've ever talked about wants you dead. So my circumstances got even worse, and sometimes I ask myself, is it really worth it? Like, but at the end of the day, it's like the damage has been done. If I was to leave YouTube tomorrow, I'm still a face they're gonna remember.
Yeah,
that's why I continue to do what I do. I have hard times, hard months, but now my circumstances are even worse. Where I really watch what I do and where I place myself in predicaments, the podcasts that I go on, what neighborhoods I'm staying in, what hotels. I'm like, bro, my son ain't gonna pay because a lot of these dudes don't like what I have to say. But what I've been having to say and I've been passionate about is like, look, I'm just trying to stop 1 or 2 kids from gangbanging. That's 1 or 2 lives that have been saved. That's maybe multiple bodies they would have caught got saved. It has a trickling effect, has a domino effect where there's a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of moms and dads that be like, man, I show my kids your videos to show them not to be part of this stuff, and they love it. They watch your stuff. So I know I'm making a difference, and that difference I feel like is important to me, even though now the target on my back is like humongous.
But do you worry that your channel could have the opposite effect on a kid in the sense of like making gangbanging look cool and romantic and sexy or whatever? Because I know like growing up, I saw American History X when I was probably like 13.
Love that movie.
Yeah, and I wasn't personally like motivated to become a white supremacist or anything, but I definitely knew dudes who, even at that young age, were like really intrigued by this and like thought that it was cool as f-. And I don't think any of them actually became like real deal like white supremacists or anything, but you know, when you're in high school, you kind of like go between belief systems here and there or whatever. Like I saw a lot of kids who were like really intrigued by it. And it's like, if you actually watch it, and it's like got a pretty clear cut message, like don't enter into a life of gangs and crime and hatred. But a lot of people are able to kind of ignore the end part of the movie. Also, it's often debated now that the end part of the movie doesn't even really make that much sense and almost kind of seems like American History X is almost like justifying racist violence.
Nah, the ending has a point. Like once you get yourself way too involved, dude, you can't pull away from it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't even want to get into it, but I've like read stuff about it before that's like, okay, so why, like he finds peace and like realizes racism's bad, and then his brother gets killed by a black guy right after that, and like, how does that not almost like disprove this new belief that he had taken on? Like, I don't know. I forget the exact breakdown I've seen people have.
Like, it comes back around. Karma comes back around.
Yeah,
you can't escape it. Just like in my situation, Am I romanticizing it? I do understand. You have to battle with that. Like, if I was to talk about like other stuff, nobody's really gonna care. So what I did, if you really listen to my videos, I talk a lot of crap. I put gangs down. I make fun of gangs. I did it in a different aspect as opposed to saying, "Hey, bro, this 18th Street dude caught this dude and they killed him on this block." I just don't storyline it. Then I start criticizing it. I'm like, this is like a lot of the prison content when I'm talking about the big homies. Like, I'm putting these dudes down. I'm making fun of them. I'm calling them this. I'm calling them that. And I think that's what became more appealing because they're like, man, this fool ain't afraid to talk about this gang, and he ain't afraid to talk smack about this gang. So every time I talk about a gang member, I'm like, look at this dumbass fool that did this right here and got 25 years for robbing a dude for a wallet and a Ford Expedition. Then I tell the story what he did, and at the end, I create this constructive criticism. Yes, it might have an adverse effect. I think it does, and I think that's why this genre is so played out. I'm doing it, but I just kind of like I manipulated the circumstances where I was like, I'm not gonna be talking like it's cool. I'm gonna talk bad on it for the kids that really catch what I'm putting down.
Yeah.
But the rest, I can't help but them like, okay, you talked about my hood. Hell yeah, the homie killed that fool. I'm glad, man. That's what's up. We got respect. We're on Renegade Media's channel. I can't stop what's already gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm just reaching out to the kids that could possibly, it could change their minds. Because what people don't know, there's a bunch of preachers that I talk to who've got it approved, because I can't go into the juvenile system because of my record. But there's preachers that represent church and outreach programs to teach kids about gangs and steer them away from gangs. They're approved to play my videos in juvenile hall systems. I can't go, but they have, and that's what some of the audience members don't see. Is like there's, police seminars I heard, and I believe it was in Oregon, and the other one was I think it was in Utah, that have utilized some of my videos when I talked about that area to stop kids from gang banging. So I've done some good. I might be doing a lot more bad by continuously talking about it, but I'm just paying attention to the good. I mean, I'm just trying to stop kids from gangbanging. If kids are gonna gangbang and end up like me in jail, then that's your fault.
I mean, there's already something in the mind of an 18-year-old kid, which is like, yo, you're 20 years older than me. I don't give a what you have to say. Like that's just like built into the mind of an 18-year-old hothead. But then at the same time, it's like a dude who's just talking a bunch of positivity who ain't really been through shit. They are really not listening to that fool. Like I feel like, at least with you, if they really come to understand, oh, this is a guy who kind of did all the same things that I've been doing the last 3 years of my life, and he feels this way about it, that's a lot more likely to have an effect. Like I wouldn't want to go talk to a 18-year-old kid like in that situation. Like I could tell him how good shit could be on the other side, but I can't really tell him about like, from my experience, don't go to prison. I ain't been there, so I don't really, why would you listen to me?
There was this one kid, he was from West Side of the Google. I just did a video about his hood. And I remember him reaching out to me and he was like, yeah, man, I've been watching your videos, man. You make a lot of sense, bro. I don't want to be a part of this. There's been countless occasions where it's not even a 16-year-old kid that's told me that. It's been like grown adults, like in their 30s, like, you know what, bro, you're right, bro. Like, what am I still doing? And they'll tell me like, yeah, I'm from the hood. I'm still active. I'm still good with my homies, but I'm walking away from that. I'm going to stay. How'd you do it? And I'm like, I don't know what your circumstances are. I bounced. And I ended up in an environment where it's just a number of white people on ranches. And it seems boring, but it seems peaceful to me. So I've heard adults come at me and say the same thing. So it's like, I can't focus too much on the negative aspect of what I'm not doing and what I'm encouraging. I just got to focus on the positivity of like what my goal is, what my passion is, and hopefully it's making a difference. I don't see it all the time, but a lot of people and a lot of parents be like, man, I show my kids this so they can stay away from it, how brutal it is. But lately it's became more about, people are just utilizing my channel to tell their stories about their kids that got killed so another kid doesn't get killed. And I've been working on that. Like, yes, I'll tell your story. I'll take the time. I'll make the effort. I'll jot it down. If it's trying to commemorate your child and what happened to your child through this gang violence, so be it. And that's pretty much where I'm at with my channel right now at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back in terms of like 2020, I feel like we kind of saw like the apex of like gang street culture in both music and YouTube. I kind of feel like it was just everybody was so fascinated about all this gangster shit in Jacksonville and Chicago and all these like, LA gang war videos were going super viral. And, that's like the era of Crip Mac becoming huge, etc. And then you fast forward to right now, and it's like mad different rappers have basically been accused of telling or cooperating and shit and like kind of the fans just seem like pretty comfortable overlooking it if they like their music. And a lot of that gang shit online is not really doing as well as it used to. It kind of feels like, in large part, the fans have sort of like broken out of this belief that they used to have, which is that the streets were real. And I think that to a lot of them, they just kind of see that it's bullshit. They see everybody telling. They see, they you know, it's just more transparent. There's all these videos about dudes who are leaving this shit. People like you who are just communicating about how the streets and all this gang shit is actually bullshit. It's not a good use of your time. I feel like so many people talking about that has sort of rubbed off on the world in general, to the point where I don't think that the next great hip hop moment is going to be driven necessarily by street culture. I feel like the culture in general is kind of ready to move past that in many ways. Like, obviously, being tough, being hard is always going to appeal to a big segment of the population and everything, but it just kind of feels like there was like a spell that the world was under for a long time, and it just
went away.
It's just not working the way it used to.
Because everybody's a gangbanger and a rapper now.
Yeah.
Everybody is. I mean, prime example, I remember when I first got out, I mean, you had to be a gang member to get on a bunch of podcasts or get recognized. You had to be gangbanging on the streets and dissing an enemy to go viral. I was like, God damn, that's what it takes. You know, you can't just get rich on your own. So now these kids want to just gangbang, where it's like, bro, everybody's a gang member. Everybody's a gangster rapper. Everybody's talking about murdering. Everybody's in the music videos doing this. Now it's like, bro, like nobody pays attention to them. Now they get very few views and very few likes. Remember when Swifty Blue could just be in his car and just smoking a blunt, and his videos would get 200, 300, 400, 500,000 views. Now it's like he doesn't get that. I'm like, at some point, being a gang member was what you needed to do to get somewhere in life. Now everybody is kind of like, I won't even watch gang related videos. I'm watching true crime. I'm watching stuff about serial killer, Ed Gein, and all that stuff. I'm like, gang banging ain't as fascinating and appealing no more as it is. Yeah. And that's what I've been trying to tell the kids too. Is like, look, I'm not even a gang member no more. I'm just a regular content creator who's very popular and has been famous and been going viral on Instagram. You could do it without the gangs. Just be you. Be authentic. Be something different. Yeah. Because gang banging, I got out in 2020. Yeah. So all I seen on social media was thugs and killers and everybody from LA just banged down. I'm like, damn, gang banging. And I wasn't even I wasn't the first one to talk about prison and gang stuff. It was already on the internet. I just joined. I don't know how I became the most hated to do it. But now that I'm seeing it, like nobody's paying attention no more.
Well, who can you point to that was really talking about Mexican gang life from a really honest perspective before you? I feel like that was kind of like one of your big innovations, was just being willing to talk about that side of things, which a lot of people are very scared to comment on.
Well, when I got out, you know, you had quite a few channels. You had Convicts Perspective, Homie Hangout. You had Gunner. You had Dubs. You had 23-1 was totally different, even though he's good. But they were talking about California gangs before I showed up. I think what made me different is because I was actually a Northern Rider, which nobody has heard of at the time. And I just started talking about Northern Rider politics. I was using the internet more like for recruitment because I was going against my own gang leader at the time. And then I just started telling everybody's like, hey, fool, tell us some prison stories. I was like, okay. But all that information, NF, Mexican Mafia, all that was on the internet before I got out. I think I just took it a little step too far by digging out more information and utilizing sources and utilizing YouTube money to help to get more inside information that made the stories more intriguing. That's how I became popular. Yeah, I know I overstepped my boundaries, but like I said, nobody did it the way I did it. Some people just kind of like beat around the bush. No, I gave you names. I gave you where it happened. I've talked about so many prison stabbings where people were like, bro, I was there for that. I was in prison for that. And it blew me up. But like I said, it just made my situation a hell of a lot worse. But even then, even knowing now that's who I am on YouTube, like it's getting played out. It's getting watered down. Like nobody cares anymore. Like you can't hear a different version of some fool getting stabbed and why he got stabbed. You know, drugs, his big homie's weird. His big homie's an asshole. There's nothing to it to tell these stories. There's nothing more intriguing and fascinating to him. That's why even me, I'm like, I'm battling my own content. I'm like, bro, do I really want to talk about this big homie? Like we already know what he's about, what he did to this kid. How he had these two Southerners or these two Northerners stab his fool. It's all the same crap. Yeah. So I'm even battling myself. I'm in competition with myself to see if I can get better because it's already played out.
Definitely. All right. I definitely want to talk about how you ended up exiting that world or getting more into the YouTube and stuff. But I want to talk a little bit more about like your actual time in prison and what kind of happened to you throughout that. So how many years in total leading up to 2020 did you actually do? That was the 13-year bid. Did you end up doing actually 13? Or?
No, I did the 15. When 15. I got to prison, they were giving me like, oh, you had 13 years. You can go home 2 years early. And then like once I got into the riot with the whites, and then I got into a riot with the blacks in Susanville, I maxed out. And then after that, I got into a riot with Southerners, and I couldn't catch no more time. So I did 15 years straight. 2012 is when I got stabbed by my own homies, and I got deemed no good. And that's when I went to the SNY yard, became a Northern Rider, went to war with the Northerners.
Okay, so you did 7 years as a Northerner, and then 8 years where you were in the SNY yard, where everything was kind of different?
Kind of different. It was more gangs, more violence, more no permission, pure anarchy. Like, at least on the main line, bro, I can't stab you unless somebody says I can. On the SNY, they're like, I'm gonna stab Adam tomorrow, as soon as he goes to chow.
Just because I don't like him, it's like
you don't have to have a reason.
There's just less order.
Just less order, and that's what made it more dangerous, is to see, because all of us were in there for something, done dirty, telling, politicked against, got removed. You got green light. I've seen so many Southsiders over there like, yeah, my hood got green lighted, so they whacked me on the yard. And you got all these personalities where they all still want to be that person again. So all they did was reinvent themselves and recreate themselves, and just became 10 times harder. Like, they don't have to answer to nobody. They don't have gang leadership. I'm just gonna stab you and I'm gonna create my own gang. So it was harder to operate and maneuver on the SNY than the active side. So
I think like a lot of us believe that there's regular prison and then there's PC, and anybody who goes to PC is like, you should just be ashamed, and that you're basically like going into a world where there's going to be all these child molesters and rapists and weird snitches and stuff. And it's just like, it's going to be peaceful, but you're around a lot of, creepy people. But you're saying that it actually does not work like that at all, that like you get put into this environment and it just becomes another Game of Thrones situation for who's going to be the baddest and the toughest and be able to control the situation the best.
Yeah, but the term PC was like the 90s.
Right.
And it was just, dude, you rarely see anybody PC, and if they're a PC, it was a sex offender or chomo. Then that's why they turned it to SNY, because they're like, well, we need to place these gang members that are getting killed or getting stabbed or debriefing or dropping out. We need to put them in a place. And then the gangs started getting rid of the sex offenders, putting them on the lower yard. So level 3s, level 4s, SNYs is just all ex-gang members that got done dirty or did somebody dirty on the mainland or told and wanted to walk away. It just became violent. Like, you won't see sex offenders on a level 3s, level 4s, and if they do, the cops will let us know, like, hey, fool, he's a piece of shit, and then he gets blasted. But they can maneuver on the level 1s and 2s because those inmates are all going home. They don't want to jeopardize it for this dude that's a weirdo. But level 3s, level 4s, man, we didn't run into no sex offenders like that. They don't exist. They get stabbed. They get killed on the yard, and I've done countless videos about that. But going to SNY, it's like, everybody has this gang mentality in this complex. We're like, bro, we got done dirty by our people. We ain't gonna forget who we are.
Right.
And then recreated these gangs that got even bigger, that got more violent. So to me, like, bro, you got a better chance of actually surviving active side than the SNY, because in the SNY, bro, he don't need a reason to kill you. If he just feels like killing you, he's killing you. At least on the active side, they're gonna investigate. They're gonna see. They might make you go on a mission. They might make you pay taxes. They might make you do all kinds of crap. But you still have your life and your respect. Nobody's gonna give you respect on SNY. They don't like you, or they don't want you around. They want to punk you. They want your canteen. They want your shoes. They're just gonna do it. So to me, it was like, bro, I was on edge for like 8 years on SNY. Plus, I joined the gang, and so I was just beating. I caught more violent cases on the SNY yard than I did the mainline, and I got into riots with blacks, Southerners, and whites. Over there, I was just beating people up, constant DA referrals. It was just horrible.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, So, okay, I saw something the other day where, and this is something that I find kind of annoying, is like, in the media, non-prison people will talk about prison, and they will frequently make light of the idea that you're going to get raped in prison as a man. Like, this is very funny to, normal square people or whatever. And, especially they love to say like, oh, if you have charges that relate to, any kind of violence towards women or a kid or whatever, that, oh, you're not going to like what they do to you in prison. I bring this up just to say, I find this very tacky for people who don't know anything about what prison is like to be like overjoyed making jokes about a guy getting raped in prison, solely because of the hypocrisy of the fact that nobody would ever make this joke about a woman, right? Like that's totally inappropriate. And for some reason, people just like to kind of toy with that idea of like male on male sexual violence. But then also it feels like that is pretty unlikely to occur, right? Because if you're somebody who's like a child molester and you get locked up, they're not going to put you in a level 4 yard where these guys are just obviously going to victimize you, right?
Yeah, they won't do that, but that's funny, dude. I remember when the first girl I hooked up with on the street, she kept like bending it over, and I was like, maybe she just likes doggy style. And then we had a talk, and she's like, "No, I thought you were gonna put it up my, you know what? Because you do that in there, right?" And I was like,
"Oh my god,
like, so I'm like, excuse me? Like,
I thought you'd be into some zesty shit."
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, no. And she literally had we had this conversation in her bed, and she was like, "No, everything I watch about jail, guys, do that to other guys, and you guys like mess around with each other because you guys got long times." I was like, "No."
Even the guys who other guys, I assume that's not going to necessarily trickle over to how they want to treat a woman, right? I mean, I don't know. But
I don't know. I seen some dudes fall in love with dudes in jail. I was like, that's gay.
You know about Fleece Johnson?
Yeah, yeah. It was, but he's different.
He blew my mind.
I think he can't. I don't think that was California prison because it doesn't happen like that. Now there was transgenders that eventually showed up on the SNYs, but before them, you didn't hear about no gang rapes like that. It happens, but rarely ever happens. And once the transgenders came to the SNYRs, then it started to happen, and then the SNY gangs made it a policy like if you're raping another, especially a transgender or a dude, like you're considered a rapist. We're gonna look you like any other way that like all these child molesters, we're gonna blast you too to prevent that. Not to protect the transgender, so to speak, but it was like, bro, you're not going to be raping people and be a rapist around us. Like, if an inmate jacked off to a female officer, like, we were blasting them on the spot.
Really?
Then I've jumped people before doing that. It happens, bro, but it ain't like what you hear on the media. Like, it's just people that have no clue how prison really works.
Wait, but so the trans thing, so you would have biological males that... I don't know, like had fake tits installed, or were they just like on hormones? So they had like weird voice and like facial figure.
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
That's got to be bizarre having that walking around while you're on there.
It was funny. The first experience that I seen, I was talking to a homeboy from Sacramento, and we were just chopping it up about some dope. And then I'm like cautiously looking behind me because it's SNY. I was going to war with 2 fires. I was kind of shaky grounds with the Zapatistas, and I'm like, so I'm just looking back, and then I just see some dude just walked past me, and he looked like damn near Paris Hilton. So I doubled back like, what the hell? What was that? And he's like, that's one of them. I was like, oh my god, and little shorts, everything. And I'm like, oh my god. But it was in Sad F when I first seen a busload come, and they had won a lawsuit where they were like, you can't discriminate us. We want to be in the regular population. With all they wanted was boyfriends. And then they show up and they go to building 4. And then a riot kicks off, and I'm like, so I'm thinking like it's us versus some 2 fires and all that. I'm like, all right, let's get ready. Come back, they're like, nah, bro, all the transgenders walked to the top tier and just started brawling with each other because they wanted to be separated still. So they separated in all these other different buildings, and the next thing you know, I just see a bunch of these dudes hugged up with dudes, and I was like, hey, all these fools couldn't wait to turn out to be gay. And that's what happened. And so now they're in a lot of the other different yards, except on the level 4 180s, they're not welcomed on the SNYs. Now, level 4 270, they're allowed, but level 4 180s is strictly controlled by the SNY gang, so they don't let them walk the yard no more.
Wow.
So, but that's a messed up thing to have to be in the predicament of like, hey, bro, we're going to green light these transgenders. We don't want them on his yard polluting and all this stuff. And I'm like, you want me to go beat up a transgender? What if he whoops me, bro? Like I gotta live with that, bro. I gotta live with that.
This is a biological male. End of the day,
that boy.
That's a big risk.
And then someone will be like 6'3". I'm like, I ain't whooping that fool. Like I ain't jumping that fool. But I've actually seen. I've told a story about it on YouTube. I've seen transgenders and their boyfriends go to war with SNY gangs, and then they would come run to us and be like, hey, we need your help. They're deep. We got to fight the blacks with the transgenders. I'm like, bro, I am not joining your war to beat up on no transgender at all. That's your problem. I didn't see myself, because I didn't want to live with that, bro. Like, because at the end of the day, they're still grown men. These were ex-gang members that just, I don't know, got turned out or whatever they did. Like, I'm not going to embarrass myself going to war with no transgender, but they're there. and it's a weird thing to be, because like I said, I was in prison before all this, LGBTQ stuff hit and society accepting gays for what they are. And so when like I heard about this stuff, and when they showed up on the yard, I was like, ooh, like you still look like a dude, player. Like I don't see how you think you're a woman. And it just got out of control in prison, real bad. Like everybody wanted to be one after that.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people you thought I was on the yard with, I thought were like cool ex-gang members just living their life, got wives, either turning gay or trying to become one of them. I'm like, bro, all y'all dudes were gay from a gay. Y'all just didn't know it yet, or y'all just been revealing it. I've caught regular dudes having sex with their cellies, bro, and we have to get them off the yard. Like, bro, we don't want no gays, no nothing. Look, you even started their own gang on the SNY.
Yeah.
All gays.
What the?
Yeah, it got out of control. So I'm like, I'm glad I got out of that environment. But I was also glad that I stood into the 180 yards. I never went to the 270s. I have to really deal with all that.
The thing I'll never probably stop being fascinated by is just the idea that you could not have sex with a woman for years and years, and that then eventually that will just turn you gay. Because that seems like it's kind of what happens, because like there's such a higher rate of homosexuality in prison for these guys who've been locked up for all those years than it is on the streets. So it's like, it definitely seems like it works that way. The same way like people told me that meth will like kind of turn you gay. Like it'll just make you do shit that you would never normally do.
They call it queer juice in jail.
Queer juice.
I swear I've seen some wild stuff in jail, and then fools get caught, and I'm like, oh, those fools were gay in the cell, tweaked out. But no, let's just defeat that idea whatsoever. I did 15 years in prison. I had my fifis. I had my alone time in my cell, and I came home, and my perspective is just one way. Man, I love women. I think women are beautiful. I don't like the idea of transgenders replacing women, thinking that they can do what a woman can do or be better than the version of a real woman. All that subject is really deep, but it bothers me. Yeah. But nah, bro, like it's a lot of us.
Yeah.
We stay solid.
No, I'm like very confident that you lock me up for 10, 15 years and that I could be the most sexually frustrated version of myself imaginable, and that I would not turn to the devil's penis.
Nah, bro, they got phones for that, bro. I got phones. I had hustles where I would get like Buttman magazines and just
Buttman. Wasn't that the name in The Simpsons? That was like Buttman. Wasn't that like Playboy? No, it was Play Dude.
I would get like all these like provocative magazines, and I would cut them out and laminate them with tape, and I would sell them for like $20, make some money.
Right.
Like there's ways to continuously think, even just a regular smooth girl magazine. There's ways to continuously remind yourself like you straight as a woman, but some fools just let it go, and I was just like, that ain't gonna be me. And I came home, made sure like that didn't happen. Strictly women only. Yeah. But even out there, I came out here and everybody's just I see so much women make fun of men on that aspect. I'm like, bro, what did you guys do to yourselves? Like women don't even respect us as men no more. Like they want this. They think every dude, every homeboy might be undercover with his boys. I'm like, God damn.
That's the weird thing too, is that like girls love to put that on dudes when they break up or whatever. Like even just the other day, Blueface broke up with that girl Hazel.
Yeah, Hazel.
Immediately, like I think she called him gay or something. It's like you only hung out with him a couple of times. I'm not really going for this. Like nobody's ever called him gay before. He hung out with you for a week, and now you're gonna call him gay. Like I ain't really going for it. But that's just like an unbelievably common thing. I never had that. I never had a girl like call me gay after we broke up, but it's got to be a weird feeling to have that accusation going out.
Nah, I treat women with respect. I really don't date no more like I used to. Like when I first got out, I was a dog. Dude. I slept with anything moving. Yeah. I was a woman. Now got a little bit more famous, a little bit more popular. I learned to be more reserved, hold my stuff to a higher prestige, different levels. Kind of hard to date though when you're like the most hated person in the world. You're just like women research, they do their research and they're like, hey bro, I have anything to worry about? I'm like, yeah, you have a lot to worry about. I am who I am, and people don't like me. I really don't go out much. But like I'm more traditional. I'm from the old school days where, like I said, 2005 before I went to prison, I didn't know anything about gay people. So like it was always man and woman traditionally.
Yo, like having self-control when it comes to girls is like the craziest thing in the world. It's like the hardest thing to pull off. Like I have a friend, and we met this girl the other day. I've been knowing her for a long time, but he met her, and we were talking about her like a week later or whatever, and he was like, yeah, she hit me up, but he's like, man, she's too messy. Like I don't really want to like get involved with all that. Like she's the type, like I don't know, she'll air me out or she'll whatever. Like she's gonna like be too public about it. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, what you just said is demonstrating a level of maturity that I really wish I had my whole life. Because the idea of like, oh, she's too messy, or like she's like into the drama or whatever. Like, I'm not gonna fuck her. I'm like, damn, that would have saved me so many problems in my life. But I don't. When it comes to like girls, man, that's like the hardest thing you could ever say no to.
Nah, trust me, it's hard. It's really hard. But it's like I don't know who to trust no more. Like there's 2 times in Visalia that 2 women tried to set me up to get smoked. And one of them was promised me. I'm like, I hadn't talked to this girl for like a whole year, and she's all Norteña out the game, and out of nowhere she's like, hey, my friend, she's over tonight. And a year later, she messaged me, friend's over tonight. Come right now, we'll give you a threesome. I'm like, all right. I'm looking at the friend, I'm looking at them in the bed. I'm like, I ain't talked to this girl in a year, and I know she kicks it with Northerners. Like, why all of a sudden she want me to go? And she kept saying, she was adamant about it. Like, man, show up. When are you going to pull up? And
that's weird, yeah.
And I wouldn't message her back. I would just read it and just close it. Like, I'm not going at all. So
being like, demanding. Yeah, like, that's got to set off some alarm bells.
This is the only time you're going to be able to hit both of us. I'm like, nah, this is weird. But they were like, one girl called me from Porterville, and she was like, look, man, they know that we're friends on Facebook. They asked me to call you and see if we can link up. I'm just letting you know to be careful because they're going to try to set you up. They wanted to set you up. So that's when I started realizing, like, bro, I can't trust women. And believe it or not, a lot more women from LA reach out to me more than anybody. Like, hey, whenever you're back in LA, hit me up, stay the weekend. I'm like, no, not at all. The resistance is hard because some of these women, especially in LA, are beautiful. Yeah. But I'm like, bro, I ain't dying for no cooter.
But okay, what's the safest way to do it if you did want to do it? Like, if you get a hotel room and she's got to, go through the security apparatus downstairs or whatever, does that not kind of assure you? Or because they can still be waiting outside, they can still post up and just lay on you all day, right?
Nah, it ain't worth the risk to me.
Yeah.
As much as I love women, and much as I'm straight as hell, and much as I missed out on so much of hooking up with women, I'm like, it ain't worth the risk. And I'm not going to put my son's life in jeopardy and my son grow up without a father because I just wanted to think with my other head.
Yeah.
But the resistance, it plays a hard role. But then at the end of the day, I just tell myself, like, look, you're going to find the person that you want one day. When that happens, it happens. That's God's plan. In the meantime, don't go be a dog like you used to, because that's where I got in most of my trouble. I had girls get jumped. I had girls get jumped with me for trying to hook up with me or dating me or see me in public with women. And it's like, I've been through that little phase of just sleeping with multiple women, and that shit kind of destroyed me. Like within, like I felt less of myself. I felt used. More women they just wanted to mess around and let me spend my money as opposed to dating me. So like after a while, I was like, bro, I'm just getting played by all these women, so I have to learn to resist.
Yeah, no, that's definitely number one best self-preservation instinct a dude could have, is just like be very careful with like who you give your sexual energy to. And really, I feel like being in a long-term relationship, like so many people that I know that go through like bullshit in their private life, I just look at it and I'm like, man, like you got to get a girlfriend. Like you got to figure something out, because it will just save you so much bullshit. Like when I really look back at my, like the last couple years before I got into a relationship, it was like, bro, I was just every girl I met, like way too crazy. And I was starting to like have success at that point too. So it just was coming in at a rate that I just like was not used to. And it's like, the thing about the fame thing is that like girls were really me like with their friends just for fun. Like it was just like like they just thought this was like a cool thing to do. And like for so much of my life, I had really had to work to get, and then it just started coming in like nothing. And like, I remember one time I had this girlfriend, and like, she went out of town for a week, and this is probably 2013. She went out of town for a week, and then she came back on New Year's, and we took ecstasy together. And then I went to the bathroom, and she went through my phone, and basically she figured out that I had like 6 or 7 girls in the week that she had been gone. And like, I honestly, like the idea that I had a different girl every single night that she was gone, I really hadn't even processed it or thought about it. And like, she was so mad at me, and I felt like she was yelling at a version of myself that I hadn't even like accepted. Like I hadn't really accepted that I was like this sex addicted at that point in my life. And like, she's screaming at me, and I'm just like kind of feeling like she's yelling at me about somebody else, like somebody else who did some up shit. Cause I was just like, I don't know. I had like a different version of me that I was like entering into that was just anything that moved.
It's funny you mentioned that. I have a little brother who's a content creator. He goes by the name of Kid Kane. Looks totally different. Boy knows how to dress. He just dyes his hair. Boy is handsome as hell. You look at me and him, you're gonna be like, this boy is a handsome one. He got all the handsome genes. This boy is a thug right here. And he got famous, and when he got famous, I've seen so much women that he's hooked up with before he's with the girl he's with. And I used to sit there and be like, bro, I want to be famous one day. And, you know, like this fool, I slept with like 8 girls in 1 week one time. I was like, bro, this was a mag. The girls were coming from LA and Vegas and different states to hook up with them. I was like, bro, that's the goal right there. Then I got there and I was like, I didn't get that same thing. I don't get that same treatment. Yeah, I get women every now and then that'll message me, but I won't hook up because I'm like, bro, I'm not flying out of state to go see you. If I'm there, then that's a different story. Then once I got the fame, my fame was different from his. Like he got a lot of followers and they loved him and they slept with him. But my fame was more or less like, they like me for the person that I became. So I've learned to embrace the person that I am instead of just being a sexual dog. I was like, bro, I'm renegade. I got to conduct myself a certain way. And I think that's helped me develop over the years, my new characteristics and my new approach to life. Like, and just be a better man, be a better version of yourself, learn to resist, learn to fight the temptations. Because if I go back to that life where I was just driving around, spending all my money, sleeping with all the women, I'm going to end up getting smoked. And I got close to it on 2 different occasions where I'm like, I can't trust it no more.
It's crazy that girl would even have sent you those messages. Like, if she had thought about it for 5 seconds, she would have realized, like, oh, if they kill you, then she's going down too. I mean, like, she didn't process that. That's kind of crazy.
No, yeah, it's a trip because she was so adamant that night. But I remember talking to this one girl. Her name was Angelica, and she got jumped at the bar. And I've never been at that bar. I've never even seen her in person. I was talking to her through Messenger, but because she was a Facebook friend of mine, they assumed that we had partied together. So she went to a bar with her friends, and a gang of Northerners just jumped this girl. And she messaged me, and she's like, hey, did you tell anybody that we talked or like we met or something? I was like, no, I've never met you before. We talked before. And then she's showing me her face all beat up. And she's like, yeah, because we're Facebook friends, they made this assumption. And they said that one time they seen me and you at this bar and I got jumped. Like, I'm going to block you. I don't want nothing to do with you. I don't even know who you are. But because we're a Facebook friend. So to me, seeing that kind of danger that happens, like now I look at every woman like a setup. And that kind of sucks because I don't want to push the wrong woman away that's for me because I'm like, bro, she could be involved. But some of the women I talk to are like heavily involved with people like are famous that are in prison, that are prison gang leaders. And I'm like, damn, I'm playing a daily game just even talking to these women. So like, I'm real leery about that now.
Yeah, totally. Like when I think about when Tinder came out in 2012, I mean, that's really like how I saw California. Cause it was like every night I'd just be in a different city at a different bar or a different like club or whatever, just hanging out with different chicks. Cause it was just like, I mean, there's just so many different areas that when I'll drive by a sign on the freeway and I'll just be thinking like, I remember going there a couple times, like, you know, and it was just always like 11 p.m. meeting up at some bar or some shit. But like, yeah, I mean, I didn't have any like sense of danger or anything. Like the last thing I was thinking about was that something could happen to me, you know?
Yeah, and then you read all about the Tinder dates and people getting killed. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like I got my social media apps, but I ain't been on no dating apps or nothing. I'm just kind of like, man, I'm just gonna wing it at this point. Which has been the hardest battle other than sobriety.
Yeah, being
sober for 7 years sucks. Like I'm like, man, I'm sober. I see everything clear. Life seems boring or slow or stressful, and I see people drinking, smoking bud, and they're just relaxed, calm, not a f in the world. And here I am sober. Like, damn, bro, I ain't got no life. And then I stay at home and edit all day where I was like, I don't even have time to talk to a girl. Like, so now my sex life sucks. Now my sober life sucks. So it kind of eats you up. But, you know, not dating and not, you know, having that sexual drive because I've been incarcerated so long in prison, that's probably been the hardest battle because I'm like, bro, I'd give up this YouTube all day if I had a woman to come home to. But instead, I've isolated myself because of my fear, because of being scared of the streets, being scared to go out, being scared to meet people. That I just like confined myself in another prison cell at home doing YouTube. That's been my hardest battle.
Like you almost recreated prison in the crib. Now, granted, you have more amenities and you get to have a relationship with your kid and you get to enjoy, walk outside, whatever. Like all these great things that make it way better than prison, but you kind of almost like recreated the experience for yourself.
That's the mother of my kids. That's what she said. She's like, dude, all you really do now is like you're in prison again. She's like, you don't leave that room. You're stuck in that room. You're editing all day. Yeah, I got all the extracurricular stuff. But she's like, you never leave your house on the weekends. You're just stuck there. As soon as you get home from work, you're stuck there. She's like, that's why your life is so like, because off camera, bro, like I got my personal issues. I got my mental health issues. I got like the fear issues. I just get caught up in this YouTube world where I'm like, I don't want to go outside. I don't want to go to the bar. I don't want to meet this girl because of this reason. And I make all these dumb excuses for myself when I'm over here telling people, hey man, live your life, but here I am like just isolated and I feel comfortable with it. And that's the scary part, is that I'm comfortable being in that room for 8 hours a day, and I'll go in the other room and shower and then go to the other room and go to bed. And that's been my biggest, I think that's my biggest downfall, why I haven't lived the best version of my life, is because I got stuck in that realm again.
I don't think you should have any shame about that though, because like I, for a long time, kind of was like living some version of that. Like even when I like kind of really became like, you know, successful and shit, like I still was just grinding out hours and hours and hours of podcasts. And like, I just really try to like never get too separate from that mentality. Granted, it's like much more social. Like the dudes that I know who like really just sit in their room and make videos all day, like sometimes I talk to them and I realize that like to them, what I do is just like infinitely more enjoyable looking for them from the outside, because like, you know, it can just get kind of dark just making video after video. Like Flacco is somebody who, you know, I've seen him get like the craziest level of success really that I've seen anybody who ever came through No Jumper. I've seen him make like $100,000 in a month, but that involves him being in his apartment making like 3 videos a day and just never really doing anything. And even like, I always bring it up, but like when 4Extra blew his hand off, he was on a date and he just went home. Like, date's over. He's going home. He's making a video about it. But it's like, he knew that that was probably a video that get 300,000 views or some shit. So it's like,
it's funny how you mentioned
he's out.
Extra.
Yeah.
I was in Oklahoma State with him.
Oh, really?
He has a Crip tattoo on his chest, and I did a video about it.
Oh shit, really?
I gave him that tattoo gun to use. That I was active at the time. He used to work out with me.
Really?
Yeah, so I made the video about him, but I never said nothing bad about him. But he was in the hole for, I think he beat up one of his enemies, and I was in a hole for trying to stab a Southsider from San Jose. And then me and him were there. Like, he was like 2 cages over. He'd bust down with us, but then afterwards he'd talk to the blacks. He'd politic with blacks. And then he was there with me when like the Oklahoma prison had a tornado hit the building.
Whoa.
So I was like maybe 8 months in the hole with that dude. And we talked a lot. So I was like, I know why he won't acknowledge me now.
Oh, really?
No, because I'm not part of the gang life no more.
Oh, okay.
So he's never really said it, never just nothing, but I gave him my respect.
To be fair, he don't really like talk about anybody for the most part. Like, he don't really, I don't even know if he really watches YouTube that much.
Well, the way he is on camera is the way he was in prison.
Yeah.
I can say that. Wes can't say the same thing, but for 4Extra, I was like, dude, that dude hasn't changed one bit.
Really?
Loves his gang.
Wait, so you were locked up with Wes Watson too?
In Arizona.
Oh my
2008.
God. How was that?
Well, he wasn't who he says he was.
He said he was the shot caller, right?
Nah, he wasn't that. Because look, when I was in Arizona, I showed up. I was only on my 3rd year in prison. So I didn't have a lot of, it's called a rank and file. For Northerners, it's called rank and file. Rank and file means you outrank certain people. So I had status as gang leadership, but I hadn't had rent or prison yet. I was still being molded. So I have a cellie who was from Porterville at the time. He was actually a big homie. And he was like, look, I'm going to be oversight because you need to build your resume. So you need to take over this prison. Now, it's not like the ideal leadership like everybody thinks it is. It's you in a prison running 60 inmates at the time. It was Northerners. And then you had whites and Southerners in a different pod. All the gang leadership that's in prison are going to communicate with one another. So I had to communicate with Southsiders and I had to communicate with the white leadership. He wasn't the white leadership at that time. And I stood in there from 2008 to 2011 while he was out there getting his buff on. I interacted with Southsiders. I interacted with the whites. He was just a regular inmate. So I was like, kind of, when I heard about him, I was like, I don't remember you out of state, bro. And I was actually gang leadership. Even when I went to Oklahoma and was interacting with Southsiders and whites and we programmed together, I was familiar with all the gang leadership there. It's not hard to tell in prison who's gang leadership and who's not. His name never rang a bell in the prison while I was out there. Now, maybe if I left in 2011 and he inspired to become somebody big, then I can't speak on that. But his paperwork is online at a Converse perspective on what year he was there in Arizona. He put him on blast. And I have the same paperwork where I was in that same facility at that time. And like I said, his name didn't come up because I can honestly speak from my personal experience. My Norteño leadership wasn't nothing like the Southsiders and whites because we were isolated and getting beat up a lot. But I had to interact with these guys, and it wasn't him, and it sure now it wasn't no Southsiders that you see famous here. These were convicted felons that were there for long terms.
Damn. So you think he's like actually misrepresenting himself, or is it possible that he's just two different perspectives?
I think with social media, you could be whoever you want to be. I mean, look at me. I talk about my past, but I'm just known as the biggest dropout with the biggest mouth. But I'm just me. I haven't changed nothing. I'm just a renegade media who does content, who's very humble. Social media, you can be who you want to be because nobody can really check your credentials, and even if they do make you look bad, and you're put on blast, your paperwork's posted online, like people come to see you as a content creator. So him being successful as he is, yeah, of course I want to be that kind of success, not his prison status, but the success that he has as a millionaire.
But the amount of like scrutiny that he gets now, with like so many people making videos about him and trying to disprove every part of his life, and people showing up to his gym and all this shit, is kind of like you see what comes with, especially in this day and age, of like trying to like create this persona around yourself, that if you try to like really be this like viral character, the people are just gonna line up to tear you down.
It's gonna back up. They do it to me before. I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it to me because of this interview. But before that, they always done it to me. But then I was just like, I've been myself this whole time. I was a gang leader who got beat up by his homies, who got stabbed on a tier, who joined a dropout gang to go against his own gang. Then my own gang went against me. I've just stuck by that reputation. Now a lot of people don't even see me as a dropout. They just see me as 5'9" He's a renegade media. He just creates content. But for the gang world, of course, I'm always going to be under scrutiny. For him, I think it backfired, but it hasn't taken nothing from him. I don't know if he's losing all his wealth and all that, but he's, some people don't care if he lied or if he fabricated or he added extras to it. People care like, man, this dude's a crazy personality. And that's what I'm saying. When it comes to social media, you could be anybody. But a lot of people choose to be somebody other than themselves. And I think that's when it backfires the most. For
sure. Just to go back to the other thing, were you surprised that 4 Extra ended up blowing up and being viral and having all these crazy moments online and stuff? Or?
No. Like, that dude's reckless as hell, bro. Like, who holds I'm not holding no damn M80 M100 in my hand. Man. I ain't doing nothing that silly to jeopardize myself. But as for his music, off the back, that he did viral, you got to give credit what credit's due. Whatever he did, it worked. Dude, I'd watch his videos when he was on No Jumper, and I'd be like, bro, this boy murdered it with 100,000 views and just talking, reckless, talking nonsense.
Yeah.
I give the man his credit, man. He is who he is. And he, like I said, but I knew him in prison. He's the same version, bro. That man hasn't changed. So he's actually being his authentic self to me.
Nah, facts. So, okay. Describe, you said you were 7 years sober?
7 years sober, 2000.
So you got out 2020, but you got sober in 2018 or so?
2018.
So basically, like, you were doing, what were you primarily doing? Meth?
Heroin.
The whole time you were locked up, and was that something you were doing on the streets too, or it just started once you got in there?
On the streets, I was doing like weed and meth.
Okay.
And then once you start seeing how people act in prison, like, it's like, you're like, I hated that drug. I was like, bro, all these fools want to do is just jack off like 10 hours a day, bro, just ripping their shit.
On meth, it's like that?
Dude, it's like, all you do is get horny in jail. And I've seen cellies mess with their cellies because they were horny. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So I had a cellie from San Jose, because I always thought heroin was a Southsider drug, because I'd always see, when I was active, I see Southsiders nodding off and slamming a needle. And
bro,
like,
you said in one of the interviews, I was like sitting next to my girl listening to it on my headphones, and you just said, yeah, I walk in and I see 4 Southsiders sitting around a table and they're all passing around a needle, like all shooting up with the same needle. And I'm just like, bro, I had to tell her. She's like, you don't gotta tell me shit like that. Like, it's just like the grossest mental image of passing a needle around like a backwood.
Because you told Lena?
Yeah, because I just heard you say it and I told her, and she's just like, you don't gotta tell me that. That's disgusting. Like, what the fuck?
Before you get all prejudgmental, I did the same thing once I got on the heroin, dude. Like, it was bad.
What's the logic? It's just like the needle, it's not actually that dirty?
No, there ain't no logic to it. We're being scumbags.
I was just wondering. I'm like, my whole life, I thought like you should never use the same needle as somebody else. And then I heard you say that. I'm like, is it that bad? I guess maybe it's not that bad.
Nah, bro. It's just, it's a rare thing to get a hold of. And that's the best way to get high off heroin or meth.
Yeah.
Like, you can snort it. It's cool. But when you hit that vein and it rushes you, like, instantaneous, it's changing.
I've seen it in so many movies and songs and shit over the years that I feel like I know what it's like. Like, I've talked to so many people who talk about it. I'm glad I haven't done it.
Until you experience it, bro, like, heroin was like a kiss from heaven.
Oh,
especially like when you're still slamming it and it's still going in and you're already getting high. You're just kind of like, it's a crazy adrenaline rush. But I had a homie from San Jose Because like I said, I thought heroin was a Southside drug. I was like, man, these Southsiders are dirty fools. Like I looked at myself as superior over Southsiders back then. So he brings it to me and he's like, bro, this you should try. So the first experience was crap. I was throwing up. I was damn near crying. My stomach was hurting. But then after the second time I did it, heroin became my drug. And I did that for 8 whole years straight. Anytime there was heroin on the yard, I was nodding off. And it was hard to kick. But I was like, I'm coming home now, bro. Like, I got 2 years to the pad, bro. Like, I didn't think I was ever coming home.
Would you go long periods without being able to get it ever? Or was it pretty consistent?
It was consistent, man. Yeah. The ones that bring it in the most are Southsiders and ex-Southsiders on the SNY. They had all the plugs. So I had a homeboy from Hayward at the time. He brought it in. He was bringing in that gas, that fentanyl stuff when it first hit. And people were just like ODing and wanting that drug. They were like, bro, where's that at, bro? Tell your homie to hook it up. I'm like, y'all want to die? Like, I want the regular black. I don't want this cut stuff. Southsiders brought it in the most. Maybe I'll go like a weekend or 2 without it, but there's too much money to be made on those yards for you not to bring in drugs. So the drugs were there on a consistent
basis. And how much money were you making, like, to be able to afford that? Because it's pretty expensive in there, right?
Well, when I was buying it, it's like $100 a paper.
Okay.
$100 to get me through the weekend.
Okay.
I spent a couple $100, but when I started bringing it in before I got busted, you know, you can make about like $5 to $7 grand off just a zip of heroin.
Holy shit.
And I did it for like eight months, but I was doing it through a teacher, and I got busted. Me, my cellie, and the teacher got busted, and I went to the hole for a little bit, and that's when I was like, that's when I hurt the worst, because I imagine doing like 5 grams of heroin a week, and like your whole pipeline gets took. I was sick. I was skinny. Felt like I was dying every day.
Do you know what kind of charges the teacher got hit with?
Introducing contraband to the facility.
Yeah.
And me and my cellie, they got us under conspiracy for 8 months, but they only found me with cell phones. They didn't find the drugs on us.
Oh, okay.
So they got us for the cell phones. They got him for conspiracy to introduce prison contraband, which is like 3 years probation. But they knew we were bringing in all kinds of heroin and meth. But we were just getting so high that when they busted us, like, we didn't have no drugs. We were when they busted us, we were waiting for that following Tuesday to get more dope in. So we had no drugs. But they caught me with like 2 cell phones, 2 touch screens. And then we went to the hole, and then they kicked me off that yard because of that.
Wow, that's crazy.
But 5 grams a week, I was just slamming in my veins. Just didn't eat, drink Kool-Aid all day, and just slam dope.
Damn, so you were like super rail thin and shit. You couldn't eat.
I remember one of some inmate walked up and he wanted some dope, and he was like, "Hey, bro, you look like a Simpson character, bro. You're hella yellow, bro. Like, you dehydrated or something." And I was like, I don't feel like it. And I just kept looking at myself that day. I was like, am I yellow, bro? Do I look yellow? Like, but then I looked at my arms. I had like 13 holes over here, 5 holes over here, holes on my hands, holes in my neck from hitting my vein. Like, it was a bad time.
And there's like no serious effort by the COs to like eliminate the heroin that's being brought in or anything. It's just kind of, they just accept it. Could they if they wanted to, or is it?
No, they can, but they wait. They play this waiting game. They want to see you get busted with like big stuff. They don't want to see you busted with like, oh, just a here little gram. They don't want to do paperwork for that.
Right.
So the cops usually just tell like the investigative unit, like, hey, we think these fools are bringing it in. There's a lot of traffic at the cell. And then they'll wait like months, and then they'll bust you with like, you're bringing in like 2 or 3 zips. And then those are the big cases for them. Those are the big wins. But there's been times where I've been nodding off, have an empty spoon right there, and the CO's like, hey, man, put the curtain up. I'm like, all right, and I put the curtain up, and I just nod off. Like, they know we're high. They just don't want to do paperwork, so they don't want you. As long as you're not fighting, and you're in a cell, and the door ain't opening, they don't care what the hell you do in your cell. So I would just leave the needle on my locker. I leave a spoon with a cotton right there full of dope, so when I wake up, I can hit another shot. They just walk right past you. As long as you're there in the cell and you're accounted for, they don't really care. The COs in California do not care about what we do.
But have you seen that change throughout your life? Because I heard you talking in one interview about how basically like you saw it kind of go from a world in which the COs took everything super serious and they were trying to bust you for everything and they were beating the shit out of people, et cetera, to the point where it's different, where they just kind of, and you haven't been locked up for like 13 years or whatever, but you're super in touch with all these people who are. Like, what do you think that change is, that they just don't care about being, you know, aggressive and you know, prosecuting every last crime and shit?
A lot of the COs are involved in it. I feel like the COs, and you can learn a lot from Hector Bravo's channel because he was an ex-correctional officer. A lot of the COs, they became just like the inmates. Like, violence entertains them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They don't care about the drugs. They know it's going by. some of them can make some money off it. There was a cop in Tehachapi. He'd bring in phones, but when he wanted to, when he felt like it was safe. So we just wait. We would wait like 3-4 months, and he would just show up and be like, "Hey, man, here, give me these numbers." And then we get him the numbers, and then he wouldn't even tell us when we were getting the phones. He would just sit there and be like, "All right, I got the money. I'll let you know." And it'd be like another couple more weeks, and we're over here like, "Man, I'm gonna stab this cop, bro. That was $3,000." And then the cop would just drop it off right there, and they'll find ways to make money off it, get their issue, and just walk away. I think the cops just stopped caring because they can't stop us.
Yeah.
If there's a will, there's a way in jail. We'll figure out a way. Now they're using drones, dropping it off. People are bringing in like Tennessee whiskey in there, Patron bottles in prison.
What the fuck? It's like bottle service.
Yeah, dude, you can get a cell phone, get caught with it, and have a cell phone by that afternoon again.
Wow.
It's that easy because there's so much money to be made. The cops can't stop it no more. So now there's just like, we're just here to do our job. Y'all want to kill each other? Y'all want to die off these drugs? Go right on ahead. We're going to go home at the end of the day. They just stopped caring after like 2015.
Really? And there's, yeah, I mean, you know what that reminds me of is how you hear a lot of people say that like I've heard like high school teachers say this, that like nowadays it's like you can't even like correct the behavior of a young kid because their brains are so fried by social media and TikTok and shit that they just don't care about anything. So if you threaten them with punishment or whatever, they're just kind of like, whatever. If you give them detention or whatever, they're just not going. They're just like, they just don't give a f-. Like, it's just, they've kind of like given up. They realize how pointless everything is. And it feels like in some way that's like the same transformation that some of these CEOs go through.
It is. A lot of the cops, they don't care if we stab each other. They don't care if we're hot. They don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
I think they're just so used to working in the prison systems. And now with these big homies walking the yard, they're like even more fear because this big homie can say kill a cop, and these guys got to kill a cop. So now there's been CEOs I talked to that live in constant fear. Like, bro, I don't even want to go to work because I'm afraid of what these gang members are gonna do to me. They're just there to do their job. Everything in the system got watered down. Where prison society pretty much runs everything. Cops don't even care no more.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, but I'm glad I'm out because I'm free now. I don't got to worry about that. I just tell the stories on YouTube, make my money, and I go to bed in my own bed. Wake up and eat my own food. I ain't got to worry about my bunkie stabbing me or strangling me with a extension cord. Like, those days are gone for me.
So let's go over like what had to happen in order for you to kind of become separate from the Norteños. Like, you were basically like, you were selling drugs and not kicking up to the bosses for a period of time.
Yeah. What happened was, like, when I went out of state with Wes Watson and them.
Yeah.
Production and revenue is part of the NF's protocol for us. We have to make them money because they were in the shoes, so we had to send them money. And I had like a connection, but I didn't have a connection. My connection was like, wait, let me see who's gonna take over this prison, whose jurisdiction it is. So while I was waiting, I'm like, I'm gonna make money, and I made a lot of money in Arizona and Oklahoma. And my big homie that I was working for winds up getting snatched up by the feds. So now I lost communication with California. He was the ones talking to his brothers to get who's going to take control over it. So for that period of time, I'm like, well, my big homie's busted. Somebody will reach out to me. Well, that's like a year and a half of no communication, no reporting. They don't know what I'm doing, but they keep hearing that like, oh, bro, these Northerners are making money. They got cell phones. They're staff. We're doing all kinds of stuff. So when I got put under investigation, they're like, where's all this money at? And I'm like, it's in Arizona and Oklahoma. They got a bank over there. I didn't send you guys no money because who was I supposed to send it to? So they put me under investigation for a very long time. And after a while, I just started getting like, I was already in the prison system like 6-7 years. My rank and file that I was telling you about, it got big. My resume got big to where I got like big headed where I was like, bro, you can't tell me shit. Like, I'm running. So I come back to Corcoran, New Corcoran, and I'm running the yard with my celly. So I started feeling like I got arrogant. I was like, I'm Norteño leadership, bro. Like, I ain't got to answer to you. I just got to report to you and let you know what I'm doing.
Just because, like, in certain situations in prison, you could be so isolated from everybody else that it just, you almost forget about the bigger structure that you're expected to kick up to.
Kind of what I did. Like, but at the same time, like, we were having too much fun out there in Arizona and Oklahoma. We were playing PlayStation. We're drinking real liquor. We're having sex with all the staff. We're having sex with the librarian women. We're running trains on some of the COs out there. I just got lost in this realm, but I was doing my job, making money, but the money was for everybody in that facility. We were all buying these phones. We're all making sure homies had canteen, homies had clothes, homies had this. And the whole time I got my big homie in Corcoran shoe, broke as hell, talking about, hey, where's my money at? And I'm like, bro, I didn't even know I had to report to you. So when I got back to Cali, I started answering to all of it. I'm under investigation for a very long time. And the questions kept being the same. Where I'm like, you know what? Forget your questions, bro. You got a problem with it? Do something about it, bro. Because right now we're going to war with Southsiders. I need to protect my people. I need to make sure that these Southsiders don't butcher us because there's like only 15 of us and there's like 200 of them. My concerns are totally different. It's for me ignoring them and not answering an investigation is when I got charged for freelancing and going rogue. And those are the two cardinal sins that you can do against the NF and as Norteño leadership that can get you killed. So when the decision came, they got on my celly and my celly blasted me in the cell. And it was because I stopped reporting and I stopped answering their questions.
Break down blasted for the people out there.
Like you're getting stabbed.
Yeah, but like you're around him all the time. Is he just acting cool with you for?
He was smooth.
And then all of a sudden, 1 minute, just boom, he just unloads.
And I was writing a letter at that time, and we both got letters the same day. The only thing is, he got a letter from the back saying get rid of your celly. I got a letter from some ex that I've been wanting to talk to forever that left me hanging. So I'm like in the zone, like in love again. Like, hell yeah, man, I got a girl on the team now. I'm finna get the bundle. I'm finna get drugs. I'm finna get cell phones, all this. And then he's like, hey, bro, like, administration knows that me and you are running the yard. I think it's best if we get rid of our weapons and our paperwork. And I'm like, you're right. So like I said, I wasn't thinking that he's plotting on me because me and this fool are going to war with other group segments. I fish my weapon down. I fish my paperwork down. I turn around. I'm like, all right, fool, let me get your stuff. And I just see it with a banger out. And he's like, hey, fool, you got to go, bro. And I'm like, why? So we start talking about it. I'm like, bro, you seriously? Like, that's not your brotherhood. I'm your brother. Like, we just answer to them, bro. They have their own problems, bro. Like, you're my brother out here. You seen what I've been doing for the people. You know my leadership. Why you taking his side? And he was like, bro, better you than me. And he swung and busted my head open. He cut my lips open. I got scars across my fingers. I got a stab wound that goes up here. I got puncture wounds right here in my ribs. And we fought. And we fought like as long as we could until they came for showers. And we were like, oh, shit, we're in the shower. So I'm trying to get rid of the weapon. I flushed the weapons.
Wait, so how long do you think you fought for?
Maybe like a good 4 minutes.
Oh, okay.
He was a fat boy. He was a big boy. So he winded it real easy. So I'm bleeding everywhere.
And when it comes to getting stabbed, being fat, it's probably a good thing, right?
Well, I wasn't fat. I was skinny.
Oh, yeah.
But he was
fat.
fat.
So you weren't able to stab him because you got rid of your weapon, right?
Yeah, so he had the knife, and I got rid of the knife. I flushed it, and I'm like, hey, fool, help me out, clean the blood. So I'm cleaning the blood on the floor, but my face is leaking, and my teeth are through my lips, and I'm like, so I'm trying to hide it, but the cops see it, cuff me up, take me to the hole for investigation. I talked to the homies in the back, and the homies were like, bro, like, they're gonna get you, bro. Like, you're already deemed no good. I'm like, nah, you crazy, bro. I couldn't accept it in my head that I was deemed no good. So when I went back, I'm like, all right, I'm going to plead my case. I'm going to finally answer their questions, and we'll see what happens. But as soon as I opened up the door, my celly rushed me on a tear, and he beat the hell out of me on this tear. So after I get removed 2 times in the same facility is when the administration was like, all right, we're going to put you on an SNY yard. You're deemed a program failure. You're deemed by your own people. They already knew, so that's when I gave up. I was like, all right, my people don't want me. They don't need me. So all I did was get deemed no good for kind of doing my job, but becoming arrogant to say, like, you know what, forget my big homies, bro. I got better things to worry about.
And so, like, when people call you a dropout, you didn't have a choice. I mean, you could have, like, done different shit in the beginning, I guess. But, like, what were you really going to do? Like, it was kind of forced upon you. And the only thing you could have done is what? Just, like, be a total rider and just, like, try to pry your way back into good standing. But
well, I've been trying to educate a lot of the social media about that. Like, there's certain dropouts. There's people that got stabbed that couldn't go back. There's people that got deemed no good and green lighted, couldn't go back. There's people that did walk away and snitch, and there's people that went to the TSU and debriefed and told on the whole organization. There's different versions of a dropout. The term dropout is for the big organizations. Me, I just got deemed no good and got sent. In Norteño politics, they don't even call me a dropout. They call me an NGN, which is a no good Norteño. So all that's telling the Norteño population is that this fool used to be a big homie. He knows how we operate. He's an immediate threat. A dropout is like an NF or a Mexican mafia or an AB that told on the whole organization.
Right.
But since a lot of people on social media don't know that, they just look at it like, well, you left the gang, so you're a dropout and you told. So they're just used to what they learned.
And I think people assume that you must have told or cooperated at some point, right? Because that's typically how someone would leave a gang, but it wasn't like that for you. Because
it's not like that for a lot of people. The only people that tell and the only people that do good at telling are the people that actually were validated members because they have the most information to provide to other people. A dude that got stabbed on the yard because he had a drug debt doesn't know stuff about politics. He just knows who probably runs his building, but he don't know what the big homies are doing. He doesn't know how the organized crime operates. He just got deemed no good. So they don't want his information. They want dudes that are validated, that were a part of the organization, who used to work for these members. I got stabbed twice, and back then the policy in the Dom was, you couldn't put these individuals back on the yard if they're considered threats, because lawsuits. If they would have killed me because they kept putting me back, my family could have sued them. So instead they were like, we'll go to SNY. And I didn't fight it. I was like, I'll go. And I just went. And once I went to the SNY, I was like, bro, my life is over. This sucks. And it was a weird phase to go through.
Yeah. So you just hated it off rip? It was just like...
Yeah, because I lived my whole life gangbanging. Like, who wants to be deemed like that? Who wants to be viewed like that? I mean, you don't know how many women out here in society look at me like... If I even try to flirt with them, like, nah, you're a dropout. I ain't messing with you. Like, I'm just like scum of the earth.
See, we got to change the type of women that you spend time around.
No, this is what
most women I know would not even know what that is. Every single thing you told me today would be totally new to them. Like, you got to just, because you got to understand, like, if you're hanging out with like normal ass white women and shit, they're just going to think that you're like a guy with like a sketchy past. It's like fascinating, intriguing. I'm not going to be like, oh, he's a dropout. They're going to be like, of course he's a dropout. If he had to get out of that life, he's going to be around me. I don't know.
No, I'm not. Like, this was like when I first got out, the women that I was talking to. Now, like, I hold myself to a higher expectation. But yeah, going over there, dropping out, I come out here to society. That's all they know. That's all they assume. So I've been educating them throughout the years, but that's how I got deemed no good by my people. And truth is, for a long time, I didn't accept it. I denied it, and I tried to say it was their fault. But I'm 38 now. I accept that. Look, bro, you were trying to become somebody. You got arrogant. You violated the rules, even though you didn't think you were. And they accused you of stealing thousands and thousands of dollars. And the truth of the matter is, like, I didn't steal it. I just left it there because I didn't know where it was going. But it's not, I didn't go over there and throwing everybody under the bus like, well, this homeboy has it and his wife's holding the bank money. I didn't do that. I was like, nah, bro, I ran the yard. Yeah, I fucked up. What are we going to do about it? And they just kept asking me, where's the money at? Where's the money? And I was like, bro, that's all you guys care about. Like, y'all didn't care about when the homie got brain dead out there? Or when all the 4 homies that caught life sentences for stabbing that Southsider and slamming a phone on his head? Y'all even care about that? Do y'all even know the homie's name from Richmond? I got his whole face split open. Like, his jaw was open from these Southsiders. The same pod that Wes Watson was in, the Southsiders and us went to war. Like, they weren't asking those kind of questions. So after a while, I was like, man, I ain't answering you guys' questions. But that's what shot me in the foot in the long run. It's just me being arrogant.
Yeah, because I mean, that's gotta be the hard thing about being in a gang, is that, like, at a certain point, you just are starting to realize that you are probably smarter and more with it and like a better leader than the actual leaders, but you're over here and you need to be basically like a foot soldier and a servant to dudes who, if you're out on the streets, you'd be looking at it as just like a random that, like, like, why am I operating under this guy? Like, I should be telling this guy what to do.
Same fools that be gang leaders in prisons are the ones that come home homeless and strung out on drugs.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of the matter is, and that's what I'm trying to reveal with my channel. I was like, bro, you guys are idolizing men who are incapable of doing anything for themselves, and yet you guys take orders and influence cities like Los Angeles and Northern California. You guys, these men influence cities that are just broke and desperate men. And that's what I've been trying to do with my YouTube channel. That's probably what's made me the most hated. But like, I think I'm doing good because I've actually lived a lifestyle, and I can actually talk from my personal experience. Like, bro, you're idolizing men that are no good themselves. It's just, to you guys, they're active. That makes them highly decorated. That makes them, idols. Bro, these are grown men that threw their lives away, that are in prison and are never coming home. That is not the type of path you really want to follow. That's what I've been doing on my channel.
Yeah, I think that's like the most important message that you're kind of putting out there. It's like, the same way, like, I remember like forever ago in like the 1900s or some shit, like, like over 100 years ago, that like some investigative journalist like basically like infiltrated the Klan, and like the people had always thought of the Ku Klux Klan as this like super powerful, cool, mysterious organization, and then this guy infiltrates it and basically just like reports back to the public about all the goofy ass nicknames and all the like lame ass shit that they were doing. And like over the course of a couple of years, the Ku Klux Klan went from like this extremely respected, feared organization to like a joke in the eyes of a lot of people. And like, you know, I feel like the average person now looks at the KKK as just like some weirdo shit, you know? And it's like, that's what like enough sunlight can do to a organization as time goes by, you know, like all you really need to do a lot of times is just reveal what's really going on. And that'll be enough for people to stop seeing it as this cool, powerful force.
And pretty much that's what's been my agenda. Because if you think about it, if it wasn't for me, a lot of people just look at it like, oh, the Mexican mafia. Like all these other documentaries, all these Mexican mafia. He ran Pacoima, he ran Pomona, he ran San Diego. I'm like, nah, let me show you a different version of how they hang out with sex offenders, or how some of them have R's on their jackets, or some of them in there have raped men, or some of them in there have killed kids, and all of them in there are just strung out on dope in a cell. Like, is this is the version y'all need to see, instead of like, oh, this man ran 3 counties and had like 4 drive-by shootings and like 9 kids died at the hands of this man's blessings. I'm like, no, bro, if you're gonna see that version, you're gonna see this version. And that's why I've gotten so good at what I got. But it's crazy though, people call me a dropout so much, but yet how do I got active information if I've been out of the prison 5 years and I've been considered a dropout since 2012? It's active gang members providing me this information because they're tired of seeing it, and they're tired of hearing it, and they're tired of being involved in it. So what do? They utilize somebody like me that ain't afraid to talk about it and just, hey, this is what's going on the inside. And I've showed casitas, I've showed illegal casinos, I've showed so much to the public to tell everybody like, all these dudes want is drugs and money, and your kids are getting killed for it.
Yeah.
So maybe you can help me out by teaching these kids what's really going on. And I think that's why my success has been where it's been.
Do you think that you would have ended up leaving the gang life if it hadn't kind of been forced upon you?
You know, it's crazy. That's like the main question everybody always asks me and already says. And I'm like, I've been truthful with everybody. Like, look, if my circumstances wouldn't have changed, I probably would have been this gang leader that had been in prison that other people would have been making YouTube videos about. Like, my life was dedicated to the Norteño politics. I wanted to be the big homie all my life, but it didn't happen. And things worked out this way for a reason. Now I am that same leader, just in a different standpoint now, and with a much more powerful voice. But it's truth be told, like my whole life was dedicated to Norteño politics. I still got the bonds and the format memorized in my head. I still know the whole Norteño history. I can break it all down like it's fresh, like it was yesterday. It's because I spent most of my life being that. So if I didn't get removed, I'd be doing life in prison, and I'd be in cork and shoe, and I'd be running these yards.
It's crazy because in the real world, if you were like a guy who worked at No Jumper, like a podcaster on No Jumper, and then you just decide like Adam's you start your own No Jumper. We've seen this happen a million times. This is normal. Like, you know, if you work at Google and you don't like Google, fucking go start your own software company or whatever. And the difference in like the gang shit is just that like, it's the same reason why you can't really like start your own country, because America has a military. So it's like, if you decide that you want to start your own country and have your own laws, well, eventually you're going to have to deal with the police and the military and shit like that. It's just like, because I almost feel like you feel like you're more indicative of like what the cause that you joined with when you were a kid was really supposed to be about. That like, you know, that you don't say it really because it's like kind of like too much to put this narrative out there, but you feel like what you've done with your life is like actually like you're the real Norteño.
It's just great. I was you were gonna put it in those terms. Look, I'll put it like this, right? In the Norteño format, there's a phrase that says advancement demands change. If you look at the 30 years of Norteño history, all they've done is went to war with Southsiders, and once that stopped, when the big homies hit the yard, they started killing each other. So all you hear is Norteños killing Norteños. So you want these guys to identify themselves to an ideology and a cause that was specifically descripted to advance the people for the betterment of the people. You'll always see that term in Norteño education, betterment. How have you bettered the people besides mass incarceration and grave sites? They haven't. So to me, it's like, if I'm educating Norteño, I'm like, look what your people are doing. All your homies are getting busted. You buried like 3 homies this year. Your homies in prison are just using you and punking you for your canteen and stabbing you and killing you on a yard. Where is your best interest at that they talked about that encourage us to be Norteños? When I learned education when I was younger, I was like, okay, we're going to better our people. How? We're not getting our people jobs. We're not getting our people successful. We're not getting them through vocational schools. We're not raising our kids in good environments. We're just it's a recycle of failure. So now, what is really a norteño? You're not. How can you call yourself a norteño in today's generation when you don't even know what your purpose of your identity really was? What's to better the people? Nah, you kill your own people, so you're an embarrassment to your own culture. Just like Southsiders are an embarrassment to theirs. You don't do nothing for your people besides slaughter them, and that's the hypocrisy that I've been pointing out. If you really wanted good for your people, you would keep them out of jail. They weren't supposed to be out here because, truthfully, norteños weren't supposed to come out here and start neighborhoods. It was a norteño identity was meant for the prison to structure it and to protect the people and come home. Norteños came and made neighborhoods, made gangs, then got into organized crime, started killing people, wearing red rags, and it all became detrimental to the Northern Chicano idea. That's why I pointed out, like, you guys are supposed to advance the people, but in 30 years, you guys see no advancements other than you guys have norteño rappers from every city.
But okay, like, I feel like their argument would be that they had to basically like take over neighborhoods and define themselves that way, because if they didn't, then all these neighborhoods were going to become Southsider neighborhoods, right?
They would become Southsider neighborhoods. That was the war that they were fighting in the prison system. These big homies took it to the streets. But you don't own that neighborhood. You might own that business. You can own that, auto body shop. You can own this podcast. You can own these houses and have real estate and have apartments for our people. You don't have none of that. All you have is a street name and a gang graffiti written all over it and saying, this is my hood and I'm going to kill for it. But that hood's going to be there when you die, and that hood's going to be there when you go to jail. That's property of the city. That's property of the state. You don't really own that. But you could have been owning businesses. You could have been owning these rehab centers to get your people off drugs. But none of them done none of that.
Yeah.
Like I said, they have not advanced their people at all, other than more gangs, more cities to take over, a bigger claim on Northern California. But guess what? All these gangs send all their money to some dude in prison that's not even from their hood.
Right.
So who really owns that?
Like if you were a guy who started a couple of corner stores or, a grocery store or some shit and like created jobs for like 10 people that he knows, like you're like a person who's created so much more of a positive change in your community than dudes who basically just like prop up killing and drug dealing for their entirety of their life, and then like are also kind of like try to tell everybody that they need to fear and respect them for whatever, just like being in a dangerous gang that everybody's scared of. It's like, if you were to start like a business and spend your life doing that, it would be like so much more respectable and positive for the community.
Exactly. Like you had him on the podcast, Big Tone.
Yeah.
I think that is the example of what a norteño should have been. He's never been to prison.
Okay.
Didn't gangbang like that. He was in his hood. Maybe once in a while he put in work on the south side, but he pursued his music, connected to one of the biggest norteño rap artists, Woody. Successful in business, became his own entrepreneur. Man, all you see about that dude is positivity and success. Yeah. That should have been everybody on that avenue, on that route. You were supposed to go to prison and learn from that experience and say, this is where our people don't need to be. Instead, it's became a cycle to where it's perpetuating that cycle to where that's where you got to be in order to be a righteous norteño, considered a norteño. He was the prime example that I've always said in my YouTube channel. I was like, he's what you guys are supposed to become. Most of y'all ain't doing that. Y'all just want to go in the hood, smoke some weed, talk about loud, killing enemies, being a rapper, and that's it. Maybe working a small 9-to-5. That's should have been better than that.
Yeah, because like, the numbers are oftentimes like hard to argue with. And if I were to go look at Big Tone's interview, I'm going to assume it has like maybe 100,000 views, maybe 200,000 views. But meanwhile, like Lefty Gunplay got 1 million views. The people at home, growth, positivity, business-minded, etc., doesn't necessarily draw in the same number of people.
Exactly.
People want to see somebody who's liable to crash out.
Exactly. And
Lefty got 1 million.
I think that sends a weird message, because I seen Lefty Gunplay. I was out here when he was going all crazy. He was telling his little prison stories on Indicted TV, and I was like, okay, maybe he's been somewhere. And then when I heard about that little thing about the bulldog, he said he blasted some bulldog, caught an attempt. I was like, no, you didn't, because I have that paperwork, because I have a homie that's a bulldog that actually was in that riot. You weren't involved in that riot. I knew all the names in that paperwork that were involved. But like I said, on social media, you could be anybody. So how come it takes somebody like that to become that successful and that big? But when you look at Big Tone, it's like, yeah, he got the views, but nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear about this dude that talks smack, that disses everybody, that does drugs, that shows his pecker to women on his social media, all that stuff. They want to see that. That's more entertaining.
Yeah.
That's why I think, like, when it comes to me and my channel and my genre, I think I'm falling off, because I think the world loves the positivity, but it's really short-sighted. People want the controversy. People that make videos about me, that make fun of me, get a hell of a lot more views than me actually doing my craft because they want to hear the drama. They want to stir things up. And I get it. Controversy sells. I just told myself, like, I don't want to be a part of that no more. And like, that's why I just kind of stay in my lane. I don't respond to people. And I kind of look at those people that do positive videos. Like, that's something that I watch. I watch Andrew Tate all the time. Everything that fool says, like, I get captivated with. Like, I'm inspired by them people, but everybody else is inspired by the lefties and the Cheetos and the Swifties and everybody else. And that's what's going to encourage the next generation to be.
Yeah, it is crazy. Like, if you're a rapper and you don't have a serious drug problem, you're almost like better off pretending that you do, because for some reason it seems like that makes the fans so much more interested in you.
Yeah. Or if you've been to prison.
Yeah.
Like, now there's new stuff like all 50-50 yards. Like, they were blaming Blueface, and I was like, bro, like, blacks don't even care about that, bro. It's not saying anything bad about blacks. Like, blacks don't give a damn about 50-50s. They're just going to politic on their own ways, on their own yards, whatever yards they're on. But everybody was trying to accuse Blueface of being 50-50, which he wasn't on a 50-50. There was King Nico. They blamed him and tried to ruin his credibility. I'm like, bro, you guys are so fascinated with the status of somebody's prison life on social media. Oh, if you weren't on an active yard, we're not going to listen to you. We're not going to bump your music. I'm like, bro, that's how watered down social media has become, is that you got to be active. You got to have active gang status to really be somebody on social media. And I think that's like the worst part of social media, period, because even people that don't go to jail have an opinion on it. Like, oh, I don't know if I should watch you because you haven't been on an active yard. I'm like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, like, when did normal people start to have an opinion on this? I know that's the fucked up thing about Blueface, is that it feels like he had almost every bad accusation that you could have from a guy who's in prison, and none of it panned out in any way. Like, they were saying he was smoking spice. He came out, it seems totally normal. He gained a shitload of weight. He's like intentionally gained weight to get bigger and stuff. They were saying that, you know, they made AI photos of him looking zesty, doing like weird poses and shit that. You know, even like Gumby just had like a clip go out where he was talking about how his homies from Hoover and shit were squabbling Blueface while he's in there. So he's not turning down fades and shit like that. I mean, if anything, he got his hood tattooed on his face while he was in there. A lot of these are things that are like probably a bad idea, but like, I mean, he definitely seems like he did everything that like a gangster is supposed to do while he's in prison, and still they managed to accuse him of everything. Like, it's just so crazy, this world we live in.
Dude, it's like that how is that so like, nobody wanted to see this fool come out and just make some slappers, like make another Tatiana part 2.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about that. Everybody was like, bro, what was he doing in jail? Who was he hanging with? Was he really with his gang? Did he turn out? Like, why is that anybody's concern about somebody's prison status? And I think it's because these past 7-8 years of everybody validating the prison aspect, the prison complex, the prison genre, the prison status, where we've, like how you said earlier, it could be detrimental, have an adverse effect. We've influenced a culture of influence that in order to be popular, in order to be creditable, you have to have like good gang status, a good gang reputation, or a good prison status of where you've been in order to become and evolve. And I'm like, bro, that's why, like, there's been times where I'm like, I'm gonna quit YouTube, bro. This shit is stupid. Like, I hate this stuff.
You know, when I was with 6ix9ine in Miami, I like when you just mentioned that, like before that, like, you know, some girls would be like, oh, you're a dropout or whatever. Man, I see 6ix9ine, so many girls coming through, the hottest girls I've ever seen in my life. Now, granted, world famous, rich, that helps too. But like, this dude's like the most famous snitch ever, and he's got girls lining up at the crib to just like give him a hug and say hi, and who knows how many of them he's banging, whatever. He seems like he could take it or leave it.
Exactly.
And they don't give a
Exactly. But like I said, in Cali, it's a hell of a lot more different. I can't talk to women that know somebody that's active. They're gonna be like, hell no. Nah.
Yeah.
But him being what he did and what he said, I mean, he is who he is. He has embraced it. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather be entertaining women than entertaining a bunch of men that care about whether or not I have any respect in the streets. Like, man, fuck that respect, dude. Like, you see what I'm sleeping with, bro? You see how much money this podcast gave me? You see how much money I got to go perform? Like, all that concerns me. How far I get. I'll be damned if I'm really focused on what a guy has to think about me. Like, that's why I kind of got over. Like, dudes call me dropouts like every day on my DMs, and I just be like, cool. I hope you sleep well at night. Because
I noticed we have a mutual stalker, this guy Dubs, who makes videos about both of us all the time. But even in, like, I was trying to watch some of his videos about you. And I'm gonna be real, like he takes so long to get to the point of whatever the he's talking about that I didn't even really get to the point of why he doesn't like you or whatever. But like, I mean, what's your thought process on seeing people who are kind of making their claim to fame, like commentating on you? Like you thought you were commentating on the streets. Now you got people commentating on your commentary.
To be honest with you, like dude's war stories about prison are incredible. They're good videos. I watched a few of them.
Okay.
Once him and his co-partner started attacking me along with others, I kind of stopped paying attention to it. But if you notice, I've never fell for the bait.
Yeah, I was trying to find videos you made about him. I couldn't find any.
Yeah, no, I don't, because I get it. I know this is a competitive market, but they're not my competition. I'm my own competition because I'm trying to better myself. You know, he has made his points. But to be honest with you, like the only reason why him and his co-partner, from what I was been advised of, that hate me is because, you know, we were all part of the same genre, but because of my intimate details or my like deep details about the prison stuff, they feel like I'm jeopardizing their lives too. Like they think that all YouTubers are gonna get green lighted because of me. I'm like, bro, no, I'm already green lighted for one. For two, I speak for myself. Never said I knew you guys. Never said I talked to you guys. I don't associate with you guys. They just think that I'm bringing heat to YouTube. And I'm like, bro, I have no association whatsoever. These guys hate me for me. They hate Renegade Media because of what I say.
That's the worst logic I could ever think of.
Well, but because eventually I kind of asked, I was like, bro, why they always making fun of me, bro? Like, I don't even talk to those fools. And then when they advised me what they said, and I was like, that's it? I was like, bro, they ain't going to be in LA when I'm in LA. They ain't going to be in San Jose when I'm in San Jose. So if anybody's going to get gunned down, it's going to be me. So I don't see how I'm bringing them heat when they don't even talk about it in the aspects or how deep that I get involved. So if they've done, which they've both done before, like you have your own things to worry about. Don't worry about what I'm doing. That's all it's ever been. I've never attacked them. I've never went out my way to, confront them. I just look at it like, well, I get it. We've all done it at one point in time where you just make fun of somebody, post a thumbnail and have an opinion about it. The difference is between, I'm just focused on me. I'm focused on what I'm doing. Look, I made it to No Jumper. I made it to Johnny Mitchell. I plan on making it to, DJ Blad. I plan on making it to Software. I plan on making places. So like, I really can't sit here and dwell and focus on how people are going to attack me, because the bigger you get, you're going to get attacked. But
I'm gonna make Vlad interview you.
I've asked him so many times because look, I'm gonna leave you on this one. This is gonna be a trip.
Sure.
So I've asked Vlad so many times to interview me, but I just think he's a cool podcaster, and like, one of my biggest, I guess influencers is Hector Bravo. He's made places, been a podcast, so I'm trying to follow that same step. And I've been asking Vlad, but he's been ignoring me. He hasn't answered me. He didn't even look at my DMs. But when that stuff happened with Tory Lanez and Whack 100 was getting at me all crazy, like he didn't even know I talked to Whack yet, and he got at me and he was like, yeah, that was some crazy stuff you said about Tory Lanez. And I was like, yeah, because I got the facts, I got the receipts.
So you were the first one who put out the rumor about him getting stabbed up.
I broke it down why. And Whack 100 called me and he was like, hey, you need to take that down, bro. That's not the narrative.
Wait, was Tory talking to the guy's girlfriend or something?
Yeah, that's what the assumption was. See, look, the one thing that I have, it's on my iPad, but my iPad's broken. So I'm trying to retrieve all of it because I have the pictures of Money Sign Suede on there too. The text message is from him on the tablet to his girlfriend at the time. And it was just an accusation like, hey, bro, like, were you talking to him on the phone? And she was like, no. I was like, was he trying to get at you on the phone? And she was like, no. And they were going back and forth. And then he said, I'm going to get at this fool for that. That's the text message that I got from the friend, not the actual girl that he was talking to, but from a friend that she sent the screenshot of them two having a conversation. So when I seen that, I'm talking to two homies that were on the yard, and they were like, yeah, fool, like this fool just basically thought that since he was using the phone, you're using Tory Lanez's phone, and he'd give it back, that Tory Lanez was getting at his old lady. Supposedly, there's this video of her dancing for Tory Lanez, but no one ever shot it to me. That was an accusation on the yard, so I didn't throw that in the video. I said this fool attacked Tory Lanez because he thought he was getting at his old lady or trying to get at his old lady. Academics posted it. My video went viral, and Whack 100 calls me telling me that that's not the narrative. That's not really what happened. I need to take it down. I'm going to lose followers. I was like, no, I got my sources. You can just tell your version. Then I seen Whack 100 go on DJ Vlad's interview and say the same story that I said. And I was like, how you going to? Like,
he was trying to stop it from coming out. So at some point, he just gave up.
That was the one time I was like, bro, I'm gonna make a video about this. But I was like, you know what? It's fine. I still respected Whack. Because, you know, we got to talk to him. He was in Colombia at the time, and I was talking to him. And to me personally, like, Whack 100 is a big name. I was like, that's cool. He used to post me a lot. Then when that happened, he was like, if you don't take this video down, I'm going to block you and I'm going to embarrass you. So I didn't do it, and he's kind of like made a dumb post about me, and I was like, it's whatever, bro. Like, I'm sorry that I lost a cool person. But, like, you guys are big names to me. I feel like I'm a small name in this genre on this YouTube yard. Like, I'm trying to aspire to be bigger. So he does all he does, and I didn't really care. And then I told DJ Vlad about it. I was like, yeah, man, this fool tried to make me take down the video. This is what it was said. And then, like, months later, I see him on DJ Vlad. And, like I said, I watched DJ Vlad's interviews. And I look at it, and I hear Whack 100 say it, and I just started laughing. I was like, I should just say it. But I'm so humble and so positive now where I was like, I don't want the smoke. I don't want the beef with him. Fine, I let him say it. And I just let it be. And I never made a video about it. I knew when coming here, I was like, that's going to come up. I'm going to say that because, you know, even though I don't need the credit, I feel like I still deserve it because I got so much hate and criticism from that video, only for somebody else to reveal it, and they didn't get the hate and criticism from themselves. I was like, well, what made me so different?
Yeah.
Like, everybody thought I was lying and I fabricated that story, but I had the receipts.
Yeah.
Dude just came out and said, like, hey, my sources, and that he was believable more than me.
Yeah.
It was a trip, dude, but that's pretty much what happened. I think dude just wigged out.
So as far as you know, Tory Lanez is still in that same prison after getting stabbed by this guy, or?
No, to be honest with you, I didn't look into it after that. I kind of like just moved on from the subject matter because I was like, bro, like I was just doing a good deed, just telling everybody what really happened. Like, yes, prison is scandalous. Of course, a dude's gonna assume like it's Tory Lanez here. He can knock anybody's old lady probably. Of course, in your cell, you're gonna panic and be like, man, maybe my old lady's talking to him. Maybe he got the number because I left it. It's on the call log. That's all that dude did was just wig out. I don't even think his girl really did it because she was genuinely talking to a friend. Like, man, I did nothing with that phone. I didn't talk to them.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a friend and two homies that knew her. So I don't think anything went about it other than that fool just spazzing out. He just crashed out, and look, he got his fame. Because
it is hard to imagine, like, this girl's dating this other dude in prison. It's like, what involvement are you gonna have with Tory Lanez? Like, even you talking to her for a couple of minutes would be some crazy shit. Like, the idea that like she was actually really had something going on with Tory Lanez is like kind of hard to buy.
And then his whoever he was talking to, because I think he was talking to multiple girls, because another girl got at me. I was trying to look at the text messages last night, and they were like, hey, they tried to charge me for the interview for him. He was like looking for somebody to pay him like thousands and thousands of dollars to interview so he can tell his version of what really happened. I was like, man, I ain't paying that fool crap. For one, what his charges are makes him a weirdo because he was messing with an underage girl. Two, I don't really care about the story like that. I just did it because I got the information. I go, three, I ain't paying you crap. I go, so, and I got the information that I know from his girl to him on that tablet that tells me the story, so I don't need his version. And then they just stopped talking to me. So they were like trying to get it for a money bag. I get it. And I was like, well, let him tell his version, even if he tries to say it in a different way, that it wasn't the way I did it. I was the first one to really relinquish that information, and I just left it alone. I just did the video and went about my day. I didn't know it was going to go viral that bad. But it went viral, like 500,000 views on TikTok alone.
Wow.
Then when I seen DJ Academics post me, I was like, hell, you got posted by him? That's cool. Then my face went on World Star, and I was like, oh, I'm making it, bro. I'm next level now. None of that benefited me at all.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing is I feel like, you know, there was a YouTube channel called Drama Alert that was all like YouTube drama and stuff. I remember the first time I made it on that shit, I got like 100,000 extra views on the video that they were talking about. Like maybe it had 100K or 200K. All of a sudden we got 300, 400K. And I just couldn't believe it. And I feel like now in the clip era, it's like everything just gets clipped and nobody goes back to the original shit. Like I know people who have had clips from their podcast go so unbelievably viral where it's like on every platform, no increase in the viewers on their shit at all. Like it's crazy.
It didn't benefit me. So I was like, even today, I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I'm going on No Jumper. Man, I asked you like, what, a year and a half ago on that messages. So I was like, man, I wonder if it's going to help me out, if it's that next level, if this is what I need. I debated it because, you know, I've been this person that nobody wants to interview. I've reached out to so many podcasts, and they're like, nah, you too much drama, your baggage. And I'm like, I get it. I understand. And then I'll just sit here and tell myself, like, well, what moves do I need to make in order to reach the next level? Because if not, I'm going to remain stagnant, remain this same YouTuber. And at this point, it's going to be like, bro, I'm not going nowhere with this, so I might as well just quit. That's been my biggest problem, too, when it comes to social media. The social media era is like nobody wants to interview me. Nobody wants me around. Nobody wants to bring me around, or nobody takes me serious. And I'm like, bro, I take my craft so serious. Dude, I got like 45 videos done. for the next month and a half of content for people, and I still keep going, like just trying to figure out ways to get to that next level. But if you look me up, bro, I got more videos about me talking shit about me than there are people who watch those before they watch my channel. So that's been my biggest little railroad real quick.
Yeah, I feel like all that is just temporary. Like as you kind of break out of the smaller YouTube scene, I feel like that shit just matters less and less, you know? Okay, but I feel like I first really paid attention to you because you were the first person to really post about what happened to Suede, which was like very useful at the time because like, you know, we all knew Suede and we all knew something happened to him in prison. We heard all these rumors and shit, but it wasn't like we really knew. And then you kind of came out and aired out the whole situation. So was that a huge moment for you? And how did you actually find out about the circumstances in which he passed?
I had talked about it a few times, just like any other content creator. But then it was one dude that had a cell phone, and he had his family reach out to me. So when I contacted him on a cell phone, he was in that facility when it happened, and he witnessed it. So he tells me everything that he witnessed, and sometimes, you know, it's hard to prove the credibility. So sometimes I got to take that risk and throw it out there. And if it's false and I find out it's false, I take the video down and I apologize to my audience members. Well, this one didn't come out to be false because somebody that works California CDCR was like, here, this is what happened. So I get the pictures of him in the shower, and I'm like, oh, I didn't want to see that, dude. I never listened to Money Sign Suede. I've never followed him. I didn't really pay attention to his music. But it was a good enough video to where I was like, you know what, that's kind of messed up. Like, I felt bad. Once you seen the pictures, I was like, man, that's damn. But I was already on that road where I was talking down on gangs. So I was like, well, I'm going to turn this into something even stronger. So I did my dirt, and it took me months and months of finding out the names of who got involved, what happened, what the camera showed. I just had to reach into a lot of people in that facility, and I had to remain low key with my sources and keep them all private. But I got to read the report of the investigation and what it says and who's being accused, who's under investigation, what big homie made the call, and I ran with it. And dude, you don't know how many of his family reached out to me like, thank you for speaking up. And I'm not doing it for no clout. I'm not doing it to get the fame, but I'm like, bro, I want these fools busted because look, it could have happened to Swifty too, and I spoke up on that. And I don't even know these guys like that. It's a simple fact that I was talking out of these gangs. If I can get these gangs busted for what they did to Money Sign Suede, then that's a win for me because the wins will come after that. The fact is they killed this kid for no reason, and this was a young Mexicano kid that was going places, bro. You guys didn't have that right to take that kid's life.
I feel like he had probably like the most potential to be a nationwide well-known rapper out of LA from the Mexican side of shit the whole time I've been doing this podcast. Like he made better music than almost anybody else I've seen come out of that scene.
Yeah, I think he did. After listening, because like I said, once I did the videos, I listened to his music a little bit, and I went down this little rabbit hole of his. Yeah. And I was like, dude, this kid had potential, signed to millions already, and he didn't even get to enjoy that life because some old man in prison wanted to tax him and punk him and send him on missions when he only had 2 years to do. Beating him up in the cell when he was on the top bunk. Like, dude, that was wrong. And then for them to lure him into a top tier shower where there's no cameras and just take his life. Like, they didn't think about his mom. They didn't think about his fans. They didn't think about nobody. So, like, for some reason, that video got me passionate to where I was like, man, I'm going to reach out. And it took me months of contacting people in the pen with cell phones that were there. And you'll be surprised how many active gang members on that yard were like, bro, that was wrong. And were giving me information. And I was just jotting it down, putting it together. And then I finally got the names of the people investigated and the Mexican Mafia dude that was responsible. Since then, that Mexican Mafia member hasn't flexed his muscle. Like, I've got word, like, man, that fool was quiet as a bird. Like, he doesn't get out of his bunk. He at first they were scared of him. He used to punk the cops, but now he's like upstanding inmate because of that video. And I'm just trying to encourage people like, man, look, let's get these fools for that and just bust them because they killed the kid for no reason that did not deserve to die. Why? Just because he was a popular rapper. But the Southsider's been known to take out popular rappers. That's why I was like, man, you know what? I'm going to just go hard in the paint on this. I don't care if it makes me look like a rat and a snitch. Oh, man, you got 3 dudes busted and a Mexican Mafia busted because you got all this inside information to bust them for killing Money Sign Suede. I'm like, nah, bro, I did what I was supposed to do because I was capable of doing it. And I'm pretty sure I made a lot of people happy, including his family, that people are going to see justice for it. And that's still my goal. I don't care how people look at me. It's just I ran into that point where, like, they don't have enough evidence to charge them. They just know who was involved. But one of those dudes that did it, I know he flipped. His name was Baby from 38th Street. He flipped, and That's all they told me. They were like, "Look, he rides in a van by himself. He's escorted by cops. They're under the assumption that he might be telling, but I don't see no arrest or no case being pending." So I'm like, bro, I did everything that I could to bring that kid justice, and it didn't work.
I feel like that kind of thing is important because people hear, you know, gangster, and they just think, oh, like being gangster is cool as and it's like when you hear a story like that and you realize how depraved this shit is and how up it is, it's just like, you know, people need to know that shit before they like devote their life to it. Like, you know, a lot of these stories, like they're depending on people not talking about it. They're depending on it not becoming transparent. And it's just like, you know, people need to know like what they're getting into if they want to be a gang member.
And they didn't think for 1 second somebody like me that was a regular YouTuber from Northern California who doesn't know nothing about Southside politics to get that much information on it. I did what I had to do. And like I said, a lot of people look at me like as a big YouTube rat for it. And I'm like, I don't care what you guys say, because at the end of the day, all my sources are resourceful, good intel. You guys watch it. You guys are just mad that I'm saying it. And if anything happens with the Money Sign Sway case and I get blamed for it, like, oh man, you got these dudes busted, I'm like, I don't even care, bro. Like, that kid did not deserve to die in jail over prison politics, bro. Like, that's what's really happening. That was on a big scale. But let's not forget about the small scale where all these dudes that just have lives and have a date or can't come home or have families are getting killed in the same fashion. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah, because like I was having a conversation with another rapper the other day, and we were talking about some YouTuber that had made a video about him. It was this guy, Tunchi5 from the Rolling Hundreds. And basically, like, there's multiple YouTube videos out there that are basically just talking about what a shooter he was and all this crazy work that he put in, et cetera, et cetera. And when I read him some of the quotes that people have said about him in YouTube videos, because he claimed that he never watched them, it was just kind of hard to believe. But he said he never watched it, so I'm reading him the quotes about how he was known for drive-bys instead of walk-downs and all this shit. And he was just like, bro, see, like, what's wrong with these YouTubers? Like, they're going to get somebody locked up doing that shit. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to understand that their mentality is that they don't give a if they get somebody locked up, because their mentality is, A, if you left enough evidence somehow, or you spoke about it, or you did anything, then you basically were like, you know, if I have enough information to report on, then it's your fault. And if I get somebody locked up who was committing violent crimes, then like, who cares? Like, that's for the betterment of society, right?
Yeah.
So do you look at it like that as well? And like, was it kind of hard for you to get into that mentality of like, well, the best case scenario here realistically is like somebody getting in like serious trouble for this shit?
Yeah, sometimes I look at it like that, but most of the cases that I've talked about are already cases that were closed, except like the Money Sign Sway and a couple other ones. But like, that doesn't bother me anymore, because I don't think with a gang mentality anymore. Like, I'm just a regular citizen that's doing content, that's doing his job, that's doing a civic duty of teaching kids not to join gangs. What it looks like, they get busted for it. That's their own stupidity, because I got busted for my own stupidity. So I really, like I said, I've already been known for that just by relinquishing too much information about prison stuff. So what difference is it going to make if somebody does get busted? If anything, a murder got happened and I was capable of solving it, then I'm a goddamn good investigator, and I deserve to work for a bigger agency. I'm just a content creator who can dig dirt. But the thing about me is different from everybody is that people really tap in because I make myself accessible. I don't ignore nobody because I'm renegade. I don't disacknowledge people. They give me information, they tap in. Like, all these active gamers, like, bro, I got some info for you. I'm like, yeah, what is it? And then if I see another person said the same thing, I'm like, okay, that's the same goddamn story. Okay, we're good. And I run with it, and it works. And like, I haven't thought that far. Like, what if I'm getting people busted? Because most of the cases I talked about, dudes are already busted. Haven't really talked about an open case. I think there was 1 or 2 occasions, but I just showed how all the gangs really operated and how somebody got killed. Nobody got busted for what I've done and what I've said. It'd be crazy if I did, because I'm like, bro, if I'm that good, and maybe I should have been a detective, because I just sit on my desk on my phone thousands of miles away from California, and I can do that. That'll just tell me my potential is crazy. And then I need to start exploring a little bit more options, but I can't let it bother me. Like, my content has become that good because nothing really bothers me other than I'm just telling cool stories.
For sure. So how do you feel looking at somebody like Swifty, who kind of similar to the Suede situation? You know, he had an order out there to take care of him, and he somehow managed to avoid it, but he's still kind of playing both sides of the fence, because he, like, when he did an interview with me, he's not really like giving up any kind of information about it, even though he's apparently greenlit. Like, he's kind of trying to I guess hopefully potentially be back in some people's good graces at some point, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what that man is up to. Like, I've had different mixed signals with that individual, and I think me and him both know what I'm talking about. But other than that, when it came to his situation, dude, I was the first one to pull out his paperwork, and that was hard as hell to do. But I got it from people that were like, there was people involved in that case that had posted bail. So I was able to get the information like that. So I read the paperwork because in my head, I'm like, bro, I don't really know the dude like that. But I've done so many videos about how he got greenlit that got like 217,000 views. I was like, bro, I don't want to see another dead rapper. If I could speak up for this fool, even this fool's not gonna really care or acknowledge anything between me and him, at least I do a good deed. So I read the paperwork because I was like, let me see if he told. He didn't tell. So I posted it purposely so all these other bloggers can stop dragging this fool's name in the mud, because no matter what that fool does, whether it's good or bad, they're gonna drag his name through the mud. So I did it on the sole basis, like, I don't want to see another dead rapper, and we all make blogs making fun of the dude because he's dead over some Mexican mafia fools. But there's so much more deep than that. But since he wants to portray himself to continuously be good standings and active, and then I really can't relinquish any other information other than the other day when he was disrespecting Jenny 6ix9ine. I was like, bro, do you really want to go there and be that kind of person and disrespect women now? And it's funny because he went live with her and denied it and cleared it up. But I was like, bro, you know, and as well as I know, there's more to that story. The only version I gave to YouTube was that you didn't tell, so people don't stop. So people don't really call you a snitch and try to kill you. And that's all I really did, because, like I said, I don't expect nothing from him. I don't want nothing from him. I can get where I need to go by myself. But I acknowledge that I did a good thing for you to make sure that to clear your name, even though he's going to say he cleared it on his own way. Bro, I made sure everybody publicly knew that you didn't tell, but that you did get stabbed and that you do got some type of green light. And then I brought up the Mexican mafia names who were involved, and I brought up the reasons why he's getting green lighted. It's just a scandalous individual hating on Swifty that got put in a bad predicament because he wanted to be with the wrong crowd. Extract yourself from that crowd and go chase your music career. But he's back online trying to be this hardcore gang member that's in good standings. I'm like, bro, there's only so much I could do for you. I did that out of the kindness in my heart. It didn't benefit me or you because you just went back being to the same person. So if it happens again, like, what am I supposed to do for you? All I didn't want to do is I didn't want like a snitch jacket put on him. I was like, bro, that's scandalous, bro. Like, you guys are just jumping to all kinds of conclusions because you want so much dirt on this dude. He didn't snitch.
Yeah.
But whatever happened, why he got blasted for, and how these fools incriminated themselves, these fools snitched on themselves through that whole paperwork. They were telling on each other. And then the streets took it like, well, it's because of Swifty. I'm like, bro, that's how gangs really work now. Like, you don't have to tell. They just want to tell everybody you told, and everybody's going to believe it. And before I even did that video, I seen everybody already accusing him. Oh, bro, he's probably telling. He probably told. And I was like, nah, we'll see. Grabbed the paperwork. I was like, he didn't tell. And it was a dead issue after that.
Yeah.
But he's going to be who he wants to be. And if he continues to want to be around that same lifestyle, I was like, man, nobody's going to save you but you. You're going to have to save yourself from that situation.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure he wasn't labeled a snitch. That was all.
Yeah, that day that I went to his hood filming a vlog, and then they firebombed the restaurant that we went to the next day, that night, that was like one of the craziest moments for me of just realizing, like, oh, so real shit can happen from this content. Like, they went to that spot, they saw us there on social media, and they went firebomb that shit that night. That's crazy. Like, I kind of couldn't believe it. And
that's what he's bringing, and that's what he wants to be around. His persona on social media is he still wants to be this active gang member. Like, bro, they tagged up your mom's house, they dropped your mom's location, they went to your mom's location. It says it in the paperwork. They pulled up to your mom's house while you were there. They just didn't do nothing. Like, it gets close. Like, I played that game too, where they got close but no cigar, and I stopped playing that game. Like, bro, I don't let nobody know I'm here until I'm gone. He wants to be famously known as Swifty Blue. That's the untouchable. I'm like, bro, this gang world, they'll kill people in their hood. They ain't gonna go out, like, fly 3 states over to get me, but they'll kill people within the immediate area, and you're gonna put yourself in an immediate area where they want you dead. Like, you only got yourself to blame at the end of the day. I'm just gonna be the blogger that's gonna be like, well, I try to tell you, bud, and I try to clear it for you, but that lifestyle is more important to you than just chasing your dream. So I'll let him have it.
Facts. Okay, so I just got a couple more questions I feel like we need to dig into, and maybe you could settle this for everybody out there. Are Mexicans allowed to snitch on blacks in prison?
No.
Okay.
No. But I will say this. Just to kill the noise on all that, because I'm going to be strong about that opinion, bro. Everybody tells on everybody. That's plain and simple. That's one of the biggest strategic moves that people make when they don't really want to stir the pot up. I've had blacks drop kites on me before. So it was a black from I think it was either Swans or Denver Lane. They were on the bottom tier. He dropped the kite on me, but we caught it before the cop got it, and we gave it to him, and they beat him up. He says he accidentally just dropped it out of his sock, but he just happened to be by the cops when we found it. But you'll see a lot of inmates, like they'll just drop kites just to try to stir the pot up, and you'll never know who the sources really are. If it's forbidden though, that I heard that narrative. Southsiders tell on blacks all the time, but they can't tell on their own. I've never seen it, but I wasn't a Southsider. No, bro. The perception that Southsiders need to have is, bro, they're deep. Why do they need to tell? They can go to war and send 30 of their homeboys on you guys, and they can all go to the hole, and they're still going to be the biggest on the yard. They don't need to tell on you if they want to get rid of you. That is just a crazy narrative that I've seen, and one time I reacted to it, and I thought that was so stupid.
Okay.
But nobody's allowed to tell. It's just telling happens all the time. Most of the time, it's just gang members telling on their own people and telling on their rivals every now and then. But you'll never know who the source of the snitch was unless the cops give you your 1030 or your 812.
Right.
And even then, they black the names out, so you'll never know who told on you. You just get this 1030 in the mail. I'm like, yeah, you got told on for this. You got a point, and a couple of points take you to the hole. But now I've heard that narrative so many times, bro, and it's not true, bro. Southsiders, they probably the most ruthless group of gang in the penal system. They ain't got no reason to tell. They could just slaughter you, plain and simple. They're that deep. They can afford the numbers.
So there's a lot of talent happening, generally speaking. Well, okay, would it be fair to say that Southsiders are more likely to tell on blacks outside their race than on their own?
No, they'll tell on their own before they tell on another race, because there's really no interaction with other races to tell. Like the black told on me because of what we were doing. We were running a drug transaction. And yeah, for some reason, like he was benefiting from it. So I don't know why he was telling on me. I think he felt like we were pressuring him to bring it in, which wasn't the case. So he just dropped the kite on the ground. But that's pretty much what they do. I've seen Southsiders telling each other more than anybody. They drop kites on each other left and right. Sometimes if they want to get rid of their leadership, they can tell on their own leadership, drop a kite on them. Their leadership gets snatched up, and now this car from IE takes over the building or takes over the yard, or if not, they'll just go to war with each other. But they'll tell on each other more than they'll tell on another group segment, because there's not that many interactions other than drug sales. And now all a black guy has to do is say, hey, your homie owes me money, he hasn't paid me, and the Southsiders will kill him. All that telling stuff, no, they just tell. The gangs and administration know more about the gangs because of them snitching on their own gang. That's it. That's the biggest snitching that happens.
Interesting. Okay. From your perspective, do you think that the N-word is a good thing or a bad thing for the Rasa movement and culture in general? We got a dude, Moose Man, who comes on the podcast pretty frequently. He's from Sacramento, and he was saying that he feels like that kind of holds back a lot of Mexican rappers because the people aren't going to accept a Mexican who says the N-word all the time. 6ix9ine comes to mind right away as somebody who's like, well, they didn't care when he was doing it. But do you think that that's like something that, generally speaking, Mexicans should be trying to like encourage other Mexicans not to make part of the vocabulary?
Well, me being from Northern California, I said it a lot. Even when I started YouTube and started rapping in the beginning, I said it a lot. Then I just stopped because it just sounds so ridiculous now coming from. Because, dude, I used to see Southsiders say it a lot. And it's funny, though, because on the yards, the blacks did not care when Northerners say it because of our black and brown communities up north. And we say it a different way with a different stilo. But when you hear a Southsider say in the yard, I was like, bro, that shit sounds forced, bro. Like, you even know a black person? Like, it sounds really like borderline racist. Was that an A or R, bro?
You feel like they just say it differently, like a little bit more antagonistically?
It doesn't roll off the same way as Northerners. So I think that's what made it more embarrassing to see Mexicans. But now that I've gotten older, it's like, bro, just talk normal. I think it is detrimental because that's why when I rap now, I don't say it. I don't even try to cuss in my raps most of the time. I just rap regular. The N-word, saying it repetitively. Like the N-word, I think most of the time is to fill in the blanks of a verse. Yeah. Especially for the black culture. And it sounds cool because that's what they are, and that's what that's how they identify themselves, and they can use that word very effectively, and it sounds good in the rap lyric. But hearing a Mexican say it, bro, it's like, now that I've listened to more Mexican rappers, I'm like, bro, now you just sound watered down. You sound like you're trying to be somebody else. if you don't have the potential to write your own raps and sound like you, and other than somebody else, then you ain't got the potential to be rapping. I think it is detrimental, but I just see more Mexicans say it way more times than a black man would. I'm like, bro, how did the roles reverse? Because for a long time, I used to see like Mexicans, especially Southerners, like thought it was wrong to talk like that and made fun of blacks in prison for talking like that. And then now we got a culture where more Mexicans say it than even blacks. I don't even think blacks want to say it that much. It just kind of looks embarrassing, and I'm kind of glad I grew out of that point in my life where I don't use the N-word no more. It's just really just a bad look to me personally, but sometimes you hear some rappers and you're like, that boy got it. Even though he said the N-word like 5 times in that one paragraph, and in 16 bars, he said it 8 times.
I mean,
it's not good.
I like was around mostly like Puerto Rican people and Dominican people on the East Coast for like most of my younger years. And honestly, that's not something that I even really thought about until I got way older, because I feel like almost every Hispanic person I've been around in my whole life has said it. At least, you know, the ones who did, we didn't really think twice about it. Then I moved to New York. Every white kid, every Hispanic kid, every person I was around at that time was just like saying it all the time. But then like once I'm like out here and I start to like understand the like Mexican identity as being separate from the whole just like people of color type thing. Like when I'm listening to somebody like Bozo explaining how like, you know, he's proud of his culture and he sees it almost as like a betrayal of his culture to be using somebody else's slang that is so directly linked to their culture and their experience that he sees it as just like, just not cool. And like now I kind of, I'll never judge somebody for saying it because it's not my business, but I definitely like, if I was Mexican, I feel like I would not say it just because it seems like it's borrowing something that is so inherently black that it's just like, it's just kind of uncool. Like it would be cooler for you to have your own slang that is more directly aligned with your own ethnicity.
Yeah, like if you hear like Chito Rana's rap in Spanish, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds cool. And then you hear him with the N-word and you're like, why? Like you were just gassing right now. You were cooking right now. Why? I just think they use it way too much. Now, if you did it the same way they do it and it sounds cool and it flows nice, I wouldn't have paid attention to it. But it's like every other word, and most of the time now, like if you see a post by them, it's like dead homies is dead homies. They said dead homies 10 times, the N-word 8 times, but they only said like 2 sentences. I'm like, bro, like, expand your vocabulary. The Mexican culture and the black culture and my lifestyle, like we've always had commonalities, common interests, come from same heritages and backgrounds. We've embraced each other in multiculturalism. We share the same thing, so let's not view each other any different. That word and the way it's being used by Mexicans is gonna draw that distinguishing line again when we've already came so far. Because now you're starting to see a lot more blacks like, bro, this sounds stupid, and you're using this word like repetitively. It's a bad look on the culture. Now, if you're gonna say it and black people accept it, then fine. But now just every other word, like you forgot the English language, bro. There's like a variety of words you could be using, and they use that. To me, it just sounds really watered down. And I just think it's starting to sound more embarrassing. I won't even watch a video if I hear a Mexican kid saying the N-word like 10 times. Like even if it's a viral video, I'm like, bro, I'm enough already. But that's because I've grown out of it, though.
Yeah.
Now, the older you get, the kind of more mature you get.
I mean, it's interesting that like arguably the biggest Mexican rapper from LA over the last 10 years or maybe ever is like OGZ, who is somebody who is Mexican, but basically like clearly affiliates with black culture more, doesn't really have any cholo style to him. You know, I feel like if you were to replace him with a black guy, all his clothes and stuff would just like align with that culture more directly and stuff. Like, but it kind of says a lot that he's arguably become like one of the biggest in that space, like because he's black coded the most.
He's like, he doesn't care about that. He's already been accepted in his fan base where he can do that. Some of these dudes that ain't to that level yet, where now you're under a microscopic lens where we pay more attention to it, and not everybody's gonna win like that. He won like that. Swifty can get away with it. Not everybody's gonna get away with it, but everybody's trying to now. And now you just hear the biggest argument. Well, rap's supposed to be black culture. Mexicans should be rapping mariachi. Like, no, we're gonna do whatever the hell we want because it's America. But let's do it in our own lane. We could be so much bigger if we did it our way, in our lane, as a representation of our people with the English language, rapping in a style of black without having to use that word. some people have acceptances, but not everybody's gonna be accepting. I think everybody's just blind to that. They really think that they can get away with it. I stopped using it because my audience was like, "Bro, you sound ignorant." I'm like, you know what? You're right. I listen to my videos. I even listen to my own music. I'm like, bro, that's trash. I said the N word like 4 times in 4 bars, and I got rid of it.
What's your attitude on music at this point? It's just like a fun little hobby to do from time to time if you really got something to say, or what?
Nah, I just like my first song that really blew up was Rabbit Season because I was disrespecting Northerners, and that video got like almost 100,000 views on that music video, but I had too much guns in it, so I was like, whoa, I need to stop. I'm doing it for my cousin. He got killed by my homies from my hood. May he rest in peace. That's why I scream "One Life, One Chance" out loud because that was his last tattoo. Me and him, our memories together, we were always bumping like 40, you know, Be Legit back in the day, Master P. He loved music. So I just wanted to do it to keep his name alive. I wasn't worried about going viral, making music and collabing. I just did songs about him. I have a catalog of One Life, One Chance about him. And now I just do it for fun. Like I said, I don't drink. I don't go to bars. I don't meet girls. I don't party. I never been to a strip club. So to me, I'm like, well, I needed something to do other side from YouTube. So I like to rap just to mess around. Now I have the money to pay for a feature if I wanted one, but I just kind of like I said, I didn't take that part of the craft seriously. I just like it's a fun. It's something I could do. Something way to express myself. I've gotten a couple 100 people listen to me on Spotify, and I was like, that's cool, you know. I may not have tens of thousands like Lefty and all that, but I know I got bars. I just don't sound like these guys that everybody wants to sound like EBK J-Bo. Everybody's talking about murdering. No, my bars are a little bit different. I'm a 90s baby. I grew up off RBL, Posse. I grew up off, you know, E40, Too Short. I grew up off that style. Like one of my favorite rappers is Hollow Tip, Looney Coleon, people from SAG. So I just keep it like right there. I'm a 90s baby, so I'm going to represent it the 90s way. Not the N-words and all that, just strictly just music. I just do it for fun. But if a big name was to come up and I have the money for it, I wouldn't mind doing it. I got the money to do it. I got the ability to do it. I just haven't took that part seriously.
What's a feature you could imagine yourself doing that would be like ideal from your perspective, and you think that they might actually be down?
Wow, now I haven't met nobody that'd be down, but
yeah, maybe putting themselves in some shit for sure. Yeah,
yeah, dude, like. Man, I would have did a collab with Swifty. Like, hey, bro, let's kill the internet, bro. That would piss people off.
There you go.
Gonna do it. I would collab with Jenny 6ix9ine because she's bad as hell. She ain't gonna do it. People from California, they will not mess with me on that level. So I was like, man, I might as well just take my music to Texas or something where you know rapping's still rapping. But a lot of these California people that I would collab with, they just wouldn't do it. And I got the money to pay for it. I can market it my damn self. I got the money to back up the marketing. Never came up. So in my head, I'm like, I got my back against the wall. So it's me versus everybody now at this point. They ain't nobody trying to collab, but those would be the cool artists I would have done it with, like no problem. They're just in a different lifestyle, and I'm viewed a certain way from that lifestyle where I'm like, I'm on the back burner, which makes me even try harder. So I still buy my beats. I still work on my lyrics. I just drop music less and less. But if you hear Renegade 3, that was one of my best songs I ever did, disrespecting a lot of people in that video. I mean, in that song. A lot of subliminals in there too, but a lot of people love that song. So I know I have the capability to match and compete with some of them, but it's just me against the world. So I just look at it like, there's no point in me reaching out to nobody. They reach out to me, I got no problem. I'm open-minded to anybody. They just ain't gonna do it. So why should I make the effort?
No, I feel it. Yeah, you're making me feel like I gotta start rapping more. I really forgot about it. I made a couple songs and totally forgot, but it's fun as shit. And there is that like weird thing in your head, like, if I do this a lot, like I wonder, could I get really good at it? Like, could I get a lot better than I am right now?
My best song was a diss track. And like I said, I got 100,000 views before I took that video down. That's one of my biggest streaming songs, like 30-some thousand streams on Spotify was Rabbit Season. If I went that route and disrespected like, you know, Lefty, which he doesn't deserve it, you would get the traction.
Yeah.
I just don't want that. It's like, bro, I don't want no smoke with nobody. I'm just trying to make money and try to go places. That's all I want to do. I want to make money with everybody, but nobody wants to make money with everybody. Everybody wants to step on everybody. Yeah. So I just do it for fun. I just bought a beat today. I'm going to go work on it. There was a part that I was writing a verse, and there was a part I was going to drop a line on Swifty just to show him a little something, but I was like, nah, I'm going to just be the bigger man. Just let him, I'm going to let that one go. He knows and I know. That's all. That's all I can say about him.
For sure. So, all right, like my last question, how did you feel when you saw Jenny 6ix9ine with Blueface? And
I knew that was gonna come up.
She was 20 shots deep, giving him a lap dance. A lot of people were pretty titillated by this.
Yeah, you can look on my Instagram. People are gonna hate me for this, but like I don't perceive her like everybody else does. Like immediately in the comments, everybody's like, "Man, she's a 304. She goes from dude to dude." And I'm like, "Bro, have you ever seen her on Figueroa Street selling it? If you haven't, you just make the accusation because she looks good the way she dresses."
She was in a relationship for 10 years, I think.
Exactly,
you know,
my
up
point.
until very, very recently.
Exactly, and everybody like I've never heard Lefty say that they did what they did. All these crazy.
Oh, he did though. He
accusations.
said it on stage, and she was furious. She got super mad about it.
Never seen it,
Oh.
but I'm not gonna be blinded to it. To me, she just looks like a girl she's a little bit ahead of everybody because of her beauty, her physique, and her hustle. Like she got the million views, she got the million followers, she got all that. I don't see nothing wrong with what she did. Like hypothetically, if she was sleeping with everybody, which I'm not saying, Marilyn Monroe didn't look. She's an American icon. If you got to do what you got to do in this industry because of how corrupt it is and how perverted it can be, I don't judge her for none of that. As long as she gets to where she's going, that was her decision. That's her body, and that's her choice. What I didn't like is like everybody just quick to assume stuff. And to me, I did a video and I said, look, for all you guys got mad because she started messing with some black dude. Y'all didn't have a problem with her. Anytime that homegirl like goes live or picks a booger or, you know, trips and falls, you guys post about it, make money off her. But the moment she sat on his lap, all y'all decided to be mad and be hateful towards it. That's not my problem. Like I don't have no problem with a black messing with a Mexican or a Mexican messing with a black or a black with a white. That does not concern me because I mess with all ethnicities. I was just calling bull crap on everybody because I just woke up and everybody was just on her. It just kept coming up on my feed and I was like, what the hell's going on? What did I miss?
Yeah.
And then I seen the bathroom thing. I'm like, bro, so what? Like whatever she had to do to get there, that's on her now. Now if she takes that as a win and then she goes places from there, bro, like you got to give her credit. Because I would do a lot of things to get to certain places in life, but you know, nobody gives me those opportunities. A lot of people that got mad didn't get the look what Swifty said. He goes, I'm just mad you didn't take me with you. But yeah, the day before when I made that video dissing you, like, hey bro, you sure you want to go that route on just disrespecting everybody? I was like, bro, he said the same thing. You didn't take me with you. But then the day before that, oh man, I slept with her, already had that. She for the streets. Then went on live and kissed her butt. And I'm like, bro, no, just keep it real. Like either you did or you didn't. And that was the whole point I was trying to prove with her. Like, bro, y'all just got mad because she sat on a black dude's lap. Like, how is that new?
Do you think the average Mexican dude out there is more bothered by her sitting on a black dude's lap than they would like to admit? Like, I feel like racism is just considered ugly to the point where people won't really do it. But I feel like that's like the underlying emotion that a lot of these dudes are kind of feeling, right?
I say a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like I said, only from personal experiences. Because even people were in my DMs are like, hey, fool, how you defending this girl? What the woo? And they'll say like the M word, Maya, you know, and I'm like, I'll block them. Like, bro, I ain't trying to hear that talk, bro. I said what I said and I stand by what I said. She can do whatever she wants because that's her choice, her life. A lot of people have that perception. A lot of Mexican families were brought up on that kind of racism form. They didn't like it. My grandma didn't like it. I had brought a black girl home when I was like 13 and she had all kinds of derogatory things to say. And I still hooked up with that black girl because she was a homegirl from my hood. It comes from family. It comes like it's passed down. I say a lot of people thought that way. They just afraid to say it. But that's why I did the video and was like, hey, bro, like I call bullcrap on all you fools. Y'all just mad she sat on a black dude's lap. Like that's not even cool. Like we're always talking about protecting each other and supporting each other. But when our own people do something that we don't like, all of a sudden it becomes a problem. Like y'all supported her left and right. I was like, you know, she was like the Mexican icon, a Mexican singer for us. She was a representation of us until that. And then that's when I started reading all the comments. And I just defended her like, bro, like she's more than welcome to do whatever she wants and whoever she wants. Like who are we to dictate that? Because I guarantee you, every single fool that was talking smack about her, if she was to let them hit, they would hit in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah.
But because she sat on a black dude's lap, it became a big problem. So I just pointed that aspect out to defend her, not knowing her, not asking for nothing. And that was it. But to me personally, I just think that's why everybody got mad. And I was like, y'all just showed y'all true colors.
Yeah.
But without saying it. So I just said it. Like, I'll say it for you since you guys don't want to say it.
Yeah, it was weird because like I felt like I was defending her when we talked about it, but then she actually was like really, really mad at me. And like one of the things I said is like, I don't think she f***ed him. Like I feel like if she f***ed him, it would probably come off differently, that there would just be something different. It would take a lot more for me to assume that that's what they were doing in this room at that moment. You know, if it looked like they were filming content for social media, the one thing that I thought was like from her perspective was just kind of goofy was just the fact that she was like talking about taking 20 shots. Like, I don't even really believe that because 20 shots is so much that I think she would probably be passed out on the ground if she took 20 shots. But like, you know, if you're a girl, like, all right, if you're a girl rapper and you're going,
there's women out here that can outdrink men, so let's not.
Oh, yeah, it's possible. That just sounds crazy to me, especially like, bro, she don't look like she eats too much. She's like she's pretty skinny. Like, she don't really. I don't think she got enough room for 20 shots of tequila in her body, but whatever. It's like, if you're a female and you're going to be going around a star rapper, it's very, very important for you to make it clear that you are in the rapper category, the entertainer category, and not the hoe category. Because we all know that Blueface got bitches beating down his door trying to f him, and that most big rappers do. And I feel like Jenny, from a optics perspective, if she wanted to do some content with Blueface, maybe you could sit on his lap a little bit, but as soon as you're talking about taking 20 shots and shit, you're starting to look like a little bit of a fangirl. And I don't really blame the fans for assuming that she was a hoe in this situation. I feel like she wasn't really being mindful enough about how this was going to look. But that being said, like, I also don't really think that she was just this dude. But I do think she was acting a little bit too much like a hoe in this situation.
I mean, behavior says a lot.
Yeah.
But like I said, like, everybody's gonna make that assumption and jump to the conclusions, but like, bro, that's her life, her body, her choice. However she gets there, whatever she had to do to get there, even if it was just, hey, let's make content. Because to me, I look at it like, bro, he's a big face.
Yeah.
She also is a big face. Even if that was just for content purposes, look at how it got people talking, and that's how easy it was for all of us to start talking. I've seen my brother do it. Like, he can do that. He knows how to do like the art of insinuation to get people talking and get people going. I've seen YouTubers do it. I've seen Myron Gaines do that. That's just how I look at it. Like, it was just a publicity stunt to get people talking, and it did. And it helps her numbers. It helps his numbers. If anything happened after, like, you know, bedroom secrets, that's between them, you know.
The thing, though, is that if she wants to, like, troll and do something to get attention, and it also is, like, kind of making her look bad, well, you need to offset that with content, like with getting people to actually listen to your song or whatever. Like, if they did that live and then the music video dropped 2 days later of them together, then I'd be looking at like, oh, that's smart right there. She just got all this attention on her and then dropped music to go along with it, and that was basically the promotional rollout. But it didn't really feel like that to me. It actually felt like she was just a drunk woman who was really, really impressed by being around a rapper. But, you know, hey, whatever she wanted to do.
Yeah, I couldn't even pay her to pay attention to me, to be honest with you, because like, she's one of the baddest in California that I think that got it going.
And that's what I said too. I said, out of this whole Rasa scene, you tell me which girl's hotter than her, that actually got some motion and clout or something that she's doing for herself. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, like, hot, physical, sexy wise, you know, Bella the rapper, she's cool. There's a girl from the 559 she got millions of views on YouTube, but she doesn't have a big following like her. Okay. She's I think her name is Carla 559. Look her up. She's beautiful too. I'm just saying, for her as a big representation, she is. To me, that's all I see. I don't see all the extracurricular stuff people talk about. Just like, man, she's a beautiful girl, and I couldn't get the time of day. I couldn't get her to pay attention to collab or do a video. So I just defended her because I just felt like what Swifty said was like, bro, like, why you gotta go that low? Like, oh, just because you sat on the black dude's lap, all of a sudden you hit it. I'm like, bro, just keep that shit real and just say why you hating on her. That was it. That's all. That's the only reason I even spoke on that, because I don't think I've ever mentioned her or talked about her other than that time, and that's it.
For sure. All right, yo, Jay, I appreciate you coming through. It was great to have a conversation. This is the longest one I did in a long time.
For real?
You like 3.5 hours or something, right?
Yeah.
3.5?
Yep.
Shit.
Appreciate it.
That's a while, yeah. Appreciate it though, man, for real. And I think that you are, as an atheist, I feel comfortable saying I think you're doing the Lord's work by letting these kids know what they're in for if they decide to take on a life of gangbanging. You know, just putting the information out there is very beneficial. And, you know, if I had a 16, 17-year-old son who was kind of on the cusp of maybe being in the streets or whatever, it would be great to be able to say, like, watch this dude's videos. Like, he knows a lot more than you.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do. But eventually, I'm gonna broaden my horizon. I'm just taking my time right now. Like, the new year is gonna be a new beginning. I'm gonna figure it out. I got a month to figure out what I'm gonna do. If not, I'm just gonna walk away and be like, all right, I did my best I could.
That's interesting that you're thinking of hanging it up before. Usually, people get out of the content game because people stop paying attention. But you seem like you're kind of dead set on putting an end to it yourself when your time is right.
I'm just waiting. I'm just trying to up the levels, bro. Like, I don't want to sit here and just be. I've been doing this for 3 years in the same spot. Like, this is a big opportunity for me being on No Jumper. Vlad might be a big opportunity. Like, I'm looking for them doors to finally open. They haven't opened yet, so I'm still working. But if I don't see them opening, I'm like, hey, I did my best, bro. People are gonna remember me, and I'm just gonna go back to being just a regular Joe. My job pays good, so I wish the best. Hope God has a plan. That's it.
Respect. Well, okay, Jay. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, bro.
Much love.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Check my guy out on YouTube. We'll put the link in the description. No Jumper, coolest podcast in the world. Check us on YouTube, TikTok, SoundCloud, etc. We're not on SoundCloud anymore. My brain is gone.